are. Okay, we're live, and you are here for another episode of the Bullshit Busters, episode 4. But before we get started into episode 4, my co-host, Triple M, and myself would like to nominate who we weren't able to nominate on the last BS Busters of Pretentious Geniuses. Now,
but before we go, I'm sorry to cut you off there, Mr. Red Fox, but before we go to that, I just have to mention just one last person who has to be in this list, and it's none other than the bloody Tim Schafer for doing that stupid stunt he just did on GDC.
I gotta disagree with you on that one. The reason I have to disagree with you on Tim Schafer being a pretentious genius is that, like, looking at the games that Tim Schafer has worked on, like, there's nothing pretentious about it. Like, the dude actually has made tons of really good games. Now, does that mean I agree with his stance on a lot of things? No. No, I do not. But I mean, you know, you can't erase Monkey Island. You can't erase Grim Fandango. You can't erase Day of the Tentacle. You can't erase the sequel to Day of the Tentacle, which I forgot right now because it's not off the top of my head. You can't erase Psychonauts. You can't erase Brutal Legend or Costume Quest or Costume Quest 2.
But
oh my God.
That's the thing with me. I actually backed up this person, this old chap here for the games that he make, and I am just freakishly disappointed.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, you know, you might not agree with the man, but I'll tell you this much right now. If Tim Schafer announced this Friday, hey, we're making another Psychonauts 2, I'd buy it when it came out. I don't care, because he's that good of a developer. I don't think that's really pretentious of him. Do I agree with his stances on things? Hell no, but I don't think he really falls in the realm of pretentious genius. Pretentious, as we said in the original list, were people who really don't deserve the title of genius, but they either claim it for themselves or they have a fan group of people that give it to them. You know what I mean? Which leads to the king of pretentious geniuses, a man who should need no introduction, Michael Pachter. That's right. Now, Michael Pachter was named the king even though he was not on the list because he is very rarely right about anything, and yet people cite him. Certain people in the gaming community cite him as knowing what he's talking about, when he has readily admitted in multiple interviews that he has no idea how the video game industry works or why people buy certain things. And yet, they listen to this man for information about the video game industry, which is hilarious to me, because the video game industry is not like other industries. It's different. It's very different. I guess no one has any thoughts about that? No disagreements about Michael Pachter?
Oh, no, my friend.
I notice no one ever says, you're too harsh on Michael Pachter. No, cut him some slack, y'all.
He deserves every slack he can get.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because I remember reading an article where he's, like, talking and, like, now, not to say that Michael Pachter hasn't been right on a few occasions, because let us not forget, a broken face clock is right at least 2 times a day. You know, you can't be wrong all the time, but I mean, most of the time he is not. He's wrong. So I find that hilarious how wrong the man is most of the time.
And even when he's not wrong, he just says the most obvious thing.
Yeah, he does. I mean, you know, when Microsoft's console wasn't selling, I think they're going to drop the Kinect. Considering that no one wants to use the Kinect 2.0 or really wants to spend extra $100 to own it. I mean, I shouldn't say no one. Most gamers who own an Xbox don't really care much for they can take or leave the Xbox One the Kinect. So clearly Microsoft's like, they don't want the Kinect. Don't give them the Kinect. It'll let us cut the price of this monstrosity by $100. That makes sense. Financially, that makes sense.
Yeah, and still making a loss out of it.
Well, yeah, they're still making a loss. They knew when we were talking earlier. I mean, Microsoft knew when they were selling it at $500, they were still taking a loss. So, I mean, they were kind of prepared. They were prepared to eat that loss. The loss they're taking right now, they're not so prepared to eat. But we're not going to talk about that right now. It's time to get into the main part of this BS Busters, the episode 4 part of it, which is Unsung Heroes of Video Gaming. Who would like to go first?
Anyone?
I'll go first.
Okay then, Mr. Cage Anime G, go ahead.
All right. I got to give it to Will Wright. It's just because he made SimCity. He made pretty much this whole Sim family line and pretty much brought in a new wave of new gamers from PC all the way to even Nintendo and PlayStation consoles with SimCity and eventually The Sims. Pretty much it was him that got me into liking SimCity at first because back in the SNES days, I was like, SimCity? What kind of game is this? But now it's like, it's addictive, just building and destroying cities. It got me hooked, and I ain't even bought Sims all the way up until, that one company bastardized it, so to speak. I'm not going to mention it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Here's the funny thing. I know exactly which SimCity you're talking about because I grew up with that was the first SimCity I ever played was the one on SimCity 2000 on the SNES, and the funny thing is that I got the SimCity that came out a few years ago that everyone hated, and I actually have a city that I've been playing with on my SNES version of SimCity over the last over 20-something years, and it's a bigger and more fully featured city than the city that I made in the new SimCity that came out. Like, I mean, I thought the whole point of coming out with new versions of something is to make it bigger and add more features. And yet, with the new SimCity, it was many steps back instead of going forward. And that is sad.
Yeah. I also like to point out that pretty much he brought in the quote-unquote casual market, too, long before we even had smartphones with the SimCity and Sims.
Well, Sim everything. Sim Ant, Sim Earth, Sim Planet.
They got a Sim. They got a Sim Farm. Believe it or not.
Sim Farm, Sim. What was one of my favorite Sims was Sim Town, which was Sim City for beginners. And it was just, I mean, Will Wright. I mean, this dude just really made some really good games. Sim Copter. And of course, The Sims.
Yeah. Thanks to it was him that pretty much got me into the whole simulator kind of games. So not just SimCity, but I got interest in like flight sims or train sims or any kind of sim really.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I just love sim games. I love them. They are awesome. And thank you, Will Wright. We salute you, sir, for giving us sim games. We haven't heard much from Will Wright. I don't think he's still making games, or if he is, he's real quiet about it. But hopefully someone will pick up Will Wright and he will make a game, and it's going to be awesome. And he won't be able to call it sim. Maybe he'll call it a computerized model, a diorama of the city, and kind of stick it to the man.
I was so helped fund that on Kickstarter.
Man, I would too. So we salute you, Will Wright. I guess it's on to the next person. Who wants to bring up their next unsung hero of?
Yeah, me.
Go ahead, sir.
Uh, well, quick. It's two persons. First is Aya Nishitani. He's the author of Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei. This novel was the novel mm, that was used to make the first Megami Tensei game. So it was the beginning from the Megami Tensei franchise. So I think he did a great contribution because today is it's a fairly well-known franchise, and the other is Akahiro Hino and Akira Tago. The second uh, is a professor, and he specializes in books that contain puzzles and serve and he helps children with learning difficulties, and his puzzles were used as the base for the puzzles of the video game series Professor Layton, and those games are made by Akihiro Hino, and and that's it. Those people.
That's cool. But see, now I
Sweet.
feel stupid because I always found Professor Layton's puzzles, especially once you got past the middle section, like the later sections, to be hard as heck. And I will not be. And here's the thing. I am not a puzzle newbie. Okay, you're talking to someone who played like Tetris and many different forms of Tetris and P-Cross, and yet Professor Layton, especially those later puzzles, especially those special puzzles that are like ultra hard remixes of the normal ones. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
because there's
oh.
always a catch for those puzzles. I just finished the first trilogy of Professor Layton, and I finished them, and it was really fun, but also frustrating because as almost every single puzzle has a catch that sometimes I've just spent my monies to get the hints to solve the puzzles because and then when I got the answer I felt really stupid to because it took me so much time to get the answer when it was really simple, but that's why I love this game series.
Yeah, it's like worse than Brain Age almost, because Brain Age, Brain Age made me feel like Brain Age. Like it starts out like you have the brain of a 70-year-old. I'm like, God damn, jeez, what type of 70-year-old? Because here's the thing, I've taken IQ tests, and I mean, I'm not gonna brag or anything, but I did pretty well. And yet, Brain Age made me feel stupid until I got into it. Then I'm like, they're like, oh, you have the brain of a 20-something-year-old. I'm like, well, I'm 20-something, so that works out. Um, but good God, I was like, dang. So who wants to go next? Triple M or myself?
Oh yeah.
I think I'll go with this one.
One
Okay,
more.
go ahead, sir. Oh, sorry, KH Anime, you were gonna say something?
Real quick, I also want to mention that thanks to Will Wright, I knew how to budget money faster, and better.
Come
Thanks to
on, man.
SimCity.
No, you don't budget money in SimCity. You use the money cheat. or as we call it now, you use the stimulus package and then just keep on.
Oh,
Oh man, I need more money to finish off my metro so people can get in without clogging up the roadways. Stimulus.
so in the way, the franchise, the SimCity, anyway, could actually be used as a educational tool.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's what we did when I was in junior high, no, elementary school. We used SimCity as a like in our basic like social studies class. We had like you got to create your own like SimCity on the old school computers. Like we'd get in a group, we'd name the city, we'd go through certain things and run it. And most people's cities sucked by the end of the semester. They went broke, or they had to like sell, like it was slums and junk. It was sad.
All right, I'm done.
So, it's your turn,
right,
Triple M. Go ahead. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I got two person here. One is Warren Spector, the person that made Epic Mickey, and I have to say, even though he did met with a fair share of success, but on the other side, when he was doing his speeches or being conducted on interviews, that what he was saying at the time, possibly five or 4 years ago, we're seeing what he said. He actually warned us what could happen if we take the bad side of gaming and run with it, and we're seeing it happening right as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I gotta give him props for that, because it's like he saw it coming miles away, and
It's like he could see the future.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of like what Yamauchi-san was saying before.
yeah,
Yeah.
and for some reason, I have no freaking idea why no one caught that on, but I guess they just want to make more money than keeping the industry up on its toes. But anyway, I digress. And then we have this person who Red Fox here call him the Tetris guy, which is none other than Alexei Pachitnov. I mean, to this day, they're still making Tetris game, and this is the man who invented that game. And quite frankly, I think it was all about himself. So I gotta give the man props for bringing the puzzle in falling bricks.
I'll give it to you. The awesome thing about Tetris is that it is a game that has no end. You can spend as long as you want playing Tetris if you're good enough.
Yeah.
Like hours and hours. And there's so many variations on Tetris. There's columns, there's gems, there's Doki Doki, not Doki Doki, Puyo Puyo, Puyo Puyo Pop. I mean, there's so many variations on that. Hey, you got to make so many figures, and then the blocks make the blocks disappear by lining them up. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's also influenced. Was it Pound de Pong? That was influenced by Tetris.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Tetris Attack. God, I love that game. Anyway.
Yeah, I had that game on Game Boy, and like, oh my God, that still has one of the best Bowser boss battle musics I've ever heard in a game. And like, it's not even Bowser boss battle music, because it was originally something else in Japan, and then they just they put Mario IP characters in it, and when they brought it to America, but it's just so awesome.
Okay, now I'm very interested in listening to that music.
They actually had a Tetris Attack tournament in PAX Prime 2013, believe it or not.
Damn. That's the one in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tetris. I like Tetris Attack. The one that I played was the one on the Game Boy, because that's the one that I could get my hands on, because every time I went to go get the one that was for, the SNES, I couldn't find the darn thing.
Yeah, I found mine. I found me a used copy for like 15.
I couldn't, like every time I went to go get it, they were like, "Oh, well, we're gonna get it in. We're gonna get it in." The place went out of business like three months later, so I guess they weren't gonna get it in. But oh well.
Yeah, are we talking the Tengen knockoff here, Tetris?
No, no. Tetris Attack was a
Oh,
they released
oh,
it.
what the,
Well, it was supposed to be the sequel. Well, there were three Tetris games that were on Nintendo consoles. And I'm not talking about the Tengen knockoff, which was really Atari. Those sneaky bastards. I'm talking the first Tetris, which is ding 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 ding. That one, and then they made a sequel, Tetris 2, on the Game Boy. But it was for the Game Boy Color. It was the one that added like bombs. You could use them to blow up certain things. And you had 2-player in the original.
oh, that one. Okay.
Are you talking about Wario's Woods?
No.
No,
okay.
it's not Wario's Woods.
No, there were bombs in the blocks, and if you set them up in a certain way, you could use them to blow up, and set up later chains. They also made another game called Tetris Attack, which really has nothing to do with Tetris. The closest thing I could call Tetris Attack is, have you ever heard of Pokemon Puzzle League?
Yes.
That's what Tetris Attack was. It was Pokemon Puzzle League, which is really something else, but they slapped Pokemon on it in order to sell it. But it's really good. And I like Tetris Attack. So I'm what you would call a Tetris Attack fiend. So
I thought Tetris aficionado, but yeah.
no, I like Tetris in general. I'm a Tetris guy.
The Tetris expert.
No, I like puzzle games in general. I'm a puzzle game guy. The first game that I got on my Game Boy was Tetris. Well, it came with Tetris, but it was Tetris. The second game I got on my Game Boy was Metroid: Return of Samus. Oh, that's such a good game. Oh, I wish they'd do a Metroid Zero mission for that.
Yeah.
But that would be awesome. Because they have the engine. They could easily do it. But I digress. So I guess it's my turn now. Alexander Petronov, we salute you. And Warren Spector for giving us Deus Ex and Epic Mickey, which was actually one of the best games ever. We salute you.
Yeah,
Booyah!
I still gotta play Epic Mickey.
Well, it's actually a good game. The best version's on the Wii, and the best version of Epic Mickey 2 is on the Wii U. So, I mean, it's really a very good game.
No way!
Yeah.
Epic Mickey 2?
I think that's the reason that Disney got rid of them, because he made the best version on a Nintendo system. They're like, oh, we can't have that. Look, everyone else around here is giving it GIMP broken games. We can't have you actually putting effort into your games. What are you, old school?
It wouldn't hurt to play it though. I haven't played Mickey Mouse games since Magical Quest on SNES.
Yeah.
That was 20-some years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, to tell you the truth, I always liked Disney's Mickey Mouse games. They were kind of hard, but they also were really, really fun.
Yeah.
So I guess it's my turn. I have two people that I want to salute. The first one is someone who, if you are an old school gamer, should be near and dear to your heart, because without this person commercializing this technology, there would be no flash drives. There would have been no NES. There would have been no SNES. No Sega Genesis. No TurboGrafx. Nothing. Who is this man? Jerry Lawson. Jerry Lawson is a self-taught engineer who basically worked for Fairchild. Now, if you know Fairchild, they're the people who came out with Fairchild Channel F, which is widely known as kind of like the first console that had cartridges. And that's what we're talking about here. This man commercialized cartridges. Cartridges, man. Cartridges. And because of this man, millions of us blew into cartridges, not knowing we were actually not helping whatsoever. But whatever. And created one of the most stable forms of data storage on the planet. Because let me tell you something: if you take care of a cartridge and keep it in a warm, in a cool, dry place that doesn't get a lot of dust, the data on it will last damn near forever. Like, you'll be dead before the data on that cartridge goes wrong. Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Whereas I can personally attest, I've had CDs scratch. Even like they're like, well, you have to handle it correctly. I'm talking about I had like when I play a game, I keep it in my system if it's a CD forever, and the thing would scratch in the system, and I'd be like, God, duh.
I wish I knew about the whole alcohol Q-tip trick back then when I was like 5 years old. And I also wish I kept all my dust covers for all my cartridge games.
No, now man, you blowing it.
Yeah.
You gotta blow it.
you look at a dust cover now, five dust covers for SNES is like $16 on Amazon. And I got 47 SNES games, so
at this point, for my SNES collection, I just keep them in baggies. Like I keep them in sandwich baggies, and that keeps them dust free.
Oh yeah.
That's a good idea.
Because I mean, they're cheap. I can get a box of them for like under $5, and like they'll have like 72, and I have way more SNES games than that. I have like last time I counted a few years ago, like 156. So probably more than that now because I've bought a few. But
wow.
Because I never threw my stuff away, and my parents didn't throw my stuff out, so I got to keep it. And as I got older, I would go, because remember there was a lull where when the N64 came out, like some people like were getting rid of their SNESs, so you could like go like once the GameCube came out, you could go and find SNES games on the cheap, like good games for like $10-15. I'm like, why would you? It's a good game. Why would you throw it out like that?
I remember the last time I went to Florida for vacation, and oh my gosh, there was was Market Fleet, or was it? Yeah, flea market over there, and I was like, I was unfortunate enough that I didn't have enough money to buy so many NES cartridges, man.
I like old technology. I mean, you're talking to a guy who collects like 8-tracks and cassette tapes and records. I like old technology, but I love the cartridges. Love them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit that way too, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I love old technology, and I love the cartridge. And Jerry Lawson, this guy actually he commercialized this technology. He has if you ever get a chance, if you're listening to this, go Google Jerry Lawson. He has a wonderful story. And to think about this guy, not only did he make the technology that made removable cartridge a thing, but he was also like one of the few black guys in the
tech industry.
In the tech industry at the time. And still, I mean, there aren't that many black people in the tech industry, so that's really amazing. But in order for you guys to know his street cred, because, some people might get a little, well, you don't know what you're talking about. He was a member of the Homebrew Computing Club, a group that also included Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak and other Silicon Valley pioneers. Yeah, he was not nobody. Let me put it that way. So I just thought that was a very interesting note. My second person that I chose. I forgot the tagline. Jerry Lawson, we salute you. The next person is Yuzo Koshiro. Yuzo Koshiro, basically one of the greatest video game musicians of all time, and he's very ubiquitous. He's known for a lot of different music. If you grew up and listened, like his most famous thing is Streets of Rage. He did the voice for Streets of Rage. He did the music for Yeast or Wise, depending on how you want to say it. He also did the music for one of the best games on the SNES back in the day, ActRaiser. That's right, ActRaiser. So, if you know anything about ActRaiser, it's one of the best. It's one of the best SNES games ever. The sequel sucked, but the first one was really good, and Yuzo Koshiro did the voice for it. So that's friggin' awesome. So Yuzo Koshiro, we salute you.
Pat it there, brother.
So now that we've done that, it's time to bring up the free topic, the free play zone. So it's open to anyone. If you have a topic you want to bring up, go ahead.
It's more like open season over here now.
No, go ahead. I want people to bring up the free topic. Whatever you want. We can talk about, I remember Triple M had a topic you want to talk about, how blatant disrespect from IGN, if I remember correctly.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, it's IGN, so what are you...
The thing is, it's kind of ironic. On one side of the coin, we have them defending Order 1886, but I digress on that. On this side of the coin, when they were actually there was two people talking about, and they are fairly new guys to me because I've never seen them before. But when they were talking about Splatoon, and then at the end, talking about Splatoon, everything was okay. I was okay. I agree with that point. There's some points I might disagree with, but I can understand. That's probably not your cup of tea, but anyway. But then everything was fine and dandy until at the end of that vid, actually made a buffoon, a tomfoolery of a mistake of even making a joke about Nintendo makes new. It would take a decade for Nintendo makes new IPs. I'm like, dear God, man. I mean, I'm not mad at this, but it's kind of disappointing to see these two people that are working for IGN, and mind you, this is a website that so-called gaming journalism here, that actually say something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, when they said Pikmin was the last game that Nintendo made as a new IP, and I was like, okay, so that means every other new IP they actually created after Pikmin are non-existent or invalidate, even the unsuccessful ones.
Well, the argument that they made was, what they said was that every Nintendo IP is like a snowflake, and
yes, exactly.
And, which, first of all, they chose the wrong portmanteau to even use, but then they managed to turn it into an insult that wasn't even factually true. You know, Pikmin was the last new IP they made, so we're just going to completely invalidate Tomodachi Life, Fantasy Life, Dylan's Rolling Western, Wonderful 101, Sakura Samurai, Pushmo,
Heck, you can even put in Xenoblade Chronicles.
Xenoblade Chronicles. Just completely, those aren't new IPs. Even though they're owned by Nintendo and they didn't exist before Nintendo funded them to be made, or in some cases created them themselves. But, those aren't new IPs.
How can they even
created in the last 10 years?
My thing is, how in the world can they completely forget about the Wii series? Like, Wii Sports actually sold more than Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it did, but it doesn't count because it's Nintendo.
Exactly, and then also,
don't you
because
people
Wii is so successful.
Don't you understand? If Nintendo came out with a device that made you lose weight, got you in shape, made you $1 million per hour, and you played it, it would be shit on by by quote unquote mainstream gaming sites because it's Nintendo. You know.
You know what's the, what? Yeah, what I did say that just they're supposed to they're journalists and yet make a very stupid mistake about this, and we as the viewers have to keep fact checking you. And not only that, they're actually perpetuating this whole stigma here that is kind of bringing up the whole console wars, and I'm using air quotation on console wars here.
Man, you know they don't make new IPs. You know Nintendo doesn't make new IPs.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: of all the first party developers that really don't need to make new IPs, it's Nintendo. Like they could just be like, we don't need to make any new IPs. We're sitting on like 67 known IPs, and over in total, if you add our semi-known IPs, like 23, 24. We're sitting on almost 90 IPs that already exist. I mean, they
haven't sold.
We're bringing out Star Tropics, and people would know what that is. I mean, okay, we would know what that is because we're old school gamers. Yeah. New people would be reintroduced to it. You know, it's a dude fighting with a yo-yo. Yeah, before NES. Before NES.
Yeah.
And for the people who didn't make that connection about the person fighting Yo-Yo, yeah, Star Tropics and even quite possibly Earthbound.
Yeah, but Ness is more well known for his baseball bat than his yo-yo. Yo-yo.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I just I mean, like this leads to a deeper issue. Quote unquote journalists, but who can't be bothered to get their facts right.
Shake my bloody head.
I mean, like, okay, I might mess with the PlayStation, the Sony crowd, and say PS4 doesn't have any games. I would be wrong though. They have games, they just aren't interesting to me.
Same here.
I don't really care about playing The Last of Us remastered. Or whatever.
I can get down PS3.
Yeah, I don't really want to play a game that I can beat in one sitting, because I did that. I actually played The Last of Us, not The Last of Us, The Order 1866 with a friend of mine the day after it came out on that Friday, because it came out Thursday and I played that Friday, and we played it one day in tandem. You remember in tandem back in the day, you do a level, you hand the controller off, your friend does a level, back and forth until you finish it. Yeah, we did that with The Order. We beat it in one day, in one sitting, not counting bathroom breaks. I mean, that is not a game that I really want to play. I mean, okay, that was acceptable 20 years ago during the SNES generation. That was acceptable. You could kind of get away with a 10-hour game during the PS1 era. The N64, a 10-hour game. If you're selling me a 10-hour game now and it's $60, and the game was in development for 4 years, what did you spend your money on?
The graphics,
cinematic experience.
That's that next gen, those next gen graphics with that next gen fog to cut down the processing power in the background, so they can keep it at steady 1080p, 30 frames per second. Because 30 frames is more cinematic.
Can't you see the sweat on his forehead? That's so next gen, man.
Oh, not just the sweat, the string hairs, man.
No, I was busy looking at that fog. I had a flashback back in the N64 days. I was like, fog in the background. What the fudge? It's like, no, man, that's totally next gen. It's fog. So anyone else want to bring up a topic? I think we've dealt with IGN.
and even beating on an already dead horse afterward.
Man, that horse is so dead, maggots are falling out of it. It's not, no, the maggots are gone. It's just a skeleton at this point. It's been dead for a while. So who else wants to bring up a topic? Something they really think needs to be talked about.
I read something on Active Game of Life. I think it was sometime last week, and I thought about bringing it up now. It was about pretty much when back in the NES and SNES era, how Nintendo pretty much had a monopoly on the game industry, and how people thought that was the worst thing ever. But when you think about the industry,
Keep on going.
the industry was much healthier than it is now. So it's like, if Nintendo for some reason we had another monopoly where they pretty much controlled pretty much 90% of the console handheld market share, do you think that maybe that would just be a good thing overall? Even though it might be just a little bit of competition, but it'd be back how it was to the SNES.
No, I agree. I think gaming has never, and this could be because I'm a Nintendo fan, but gaming was so much better when Nintendo. Third parties knew how to act when Nintendo had them by the balls.
Yeah.
It was sweet. Like this bullshit where they would put a broken game on a console and no, it's broken. Like, I don't mean like we made a mistake. Like, I'm not talking about where like there's an error. Like, there was an error in the first Battletoads on the NES where if you played 2-player, you couldn't beat the final level. You just couldn't beat it. It was, I mean, literally, which makes sense because you're thinking it's a single-player game, and when they tested it as single-player. Like, they weren't thinking to play it completely through as 2 players. But, I mean, you got companies like Bethesda, because I had the PS3 version of Skyrim, and who release a game, and they're like, oh, well, I mean, this is as much as we're going to patch this game. And if you buy it, you're taking your chances. You know, you play the game, you take some chances, you know what I mean? If it crashes, son. I don't know what to say, man. You got to take your chances. It's a game, you know. You got to take your chances. 50-50, son. 50-50.
I mean, when I continue to like look back and research like pretty much the transition from SNES to PS1. I see it as like SNES days. That's pretty much you and kids in the classroom learning and make sure getting good education. But pretty much when PlayStation came along, the kids pretty much went in the playground the whole entire time. They didn't care nothing about schoolwork anymore, and it seemed like it just degraded as time progressed.
Oh yeah, it's literally. No, go ahead.
No, you first, because I'm going to say the other side of the coin of what's going on currently.
It is literally gaming, and I'm not saying all gaming has gone bad.
Yeah.
But I will say, as far as third parties are concerned, gaming has gotten worse. And like Sony and Microsoft did not help. Sony basically locking up games on their system that used to be on other things. Like RPGs used to come to everything. Now they only come to Sony. Microsoft buying up, like, instead of competing, they just write a check and buy studios. Like, I mean, this is why we can't get a decent Rare game, because, this is why Microsoft really doesn't have any strong first-party IPs. Aside from Halo, which they bought Bungie, like, they didn't buy Bungie. They bought the IP for Halo. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad, and it shouldn't be this way. Because traditionally you would come out with a console. That console would launch with a flagship title. Normally, that flagship title would basically be what you'd build your system around. Or, a flagship, something would come along that would be your flagship title. Like, the first game that came with the Genesis was Altered Beast, which, frankly speaking, I never liked. I thought it was one of the stupidest games I ever played. But, to each his own. Look, not every game is going to, I didn't like Altered Beast, but, I mean, this is coming from a Nintendo fan. I like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Sonic 2. Sonic 3 I could take or leave, but Sonic 1 and 2 I love. Those are some of my favorite, especially Sonic 1. The first time I heard the Green Hill Zone music, oh, I love that game. But I digress. But I mean, they just don't. They don't. I mean, third parties, especially now, they don't have any accountability. I mean, EA releasing games that they know are broken, and people buy it anyway. They're like, oh yeah, developers know when a game is broken and shipping it in anyway. Like, yeah, it's a broken piece of shit, but we're gonna ship it anyway because we don't care.
Yeah, I believe Mr. T said that on one of his videos. It's like we've been reprogrammed to buy all these broken games, and we might complain about it, but at the end of the day, we still pay full price for it. They got us hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. Well, speaking
Not
about
me,
things,
son.
Most it seem like the masses anyway.
I'm a Nintendo gamer. We don't get broken games.
I'm gonna say like Tony Rende said best. I'm a gamer. Well, actually, more of a Nintendo fan, but yeah. Anyway, I'm a gamer. I am not a third-party beta tester.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing: if you want to pay me to be a beta tester, go ahead. I don't mind. You want to give me $50 an hour to play test your game? Sure. But don't charge me $60 for your game, and you know it's a broken piece of shit, and then be like, oh well, we got to patch that later.
It's also funny because all these third-party games that Wii U doesn't get, either they don't sell as well, either they poorly received, or they're broken, or also they could have something hidden like microtransactions or season passes.
Yeah, I remember when the Wii U first came out and like the third parties first started leaving in mass, and like people were like Nintendo's losing third party support, and I'd look at it and they're like, this game's coming out, that game's coming out. I'm like, these games look like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not feeling jealous because I don't have shit. Like, okay, when you back in the day, if you were a Nintendo fan and the Sega Genesis came out, there were some really good games that if you didn't own a Sega Genesis, you didn't have. That kind of hurt, because you wanted Streets of Rage, you wanted Vector Man, but you had an alternative on your console. But now you're seeing games come out, and I'm like, that game looks like shit. I'm glad it's not on my console.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I tell people all the time when they say, where's third-party support? Where's third-party support? We need third-party support. But at the end of the day, I'm like, what third-party support? Most third parties are crap anyway, so keep that crap away from Nintendo.
Yeah.
And that's
not to mention. No, go ahead.
And that's what the other side of the coin, when people actually clamoring for third party games. I just recently saw a video of Carol TIGF, the insane gamer freak. Good guy, by the way. But he replied to another YouTuber, which I thought, who was asking for Nintendo needs to do anything to get third party support. And I was like, okay. First of all, you have a YouTube that has the word Nintendo in it, and second of all, if you know what's been going on, and I mean since the inception of the Wii U, heck, even before then, you would know why we're not getting third party support, and a really good reason. Or not good, maybe not good, but a fair reason why Nintendo is not doing what you want them to do, which is money hatting third-party games in a way that Sony and Microsoft are doing. Games be damned that if they can't be on a Nintendo console right now, but.
You know what the funny thing is that Sony and Microsoft. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if this person actually forgot or have some selective memory. Like I said before, that the very first thing that Nintendo did when the Wii U was released is giving is giving the key to the third parties. Guess what we have? So I'm not sure where you're coming from, mate, but if you want third-party games so bad, you might as well just buy the freaking console, the PS4 or the Xbox One. And this is me coming from a very poor dude with not much salary on my back. And I thought people that has considering him, I said I would guess that he's in a better position than me, because I thought he would have more backbone than me, but that seems to be entirely not the case.
Yeah,
And I'm willing to buy another console just to play the games that I'm currently missing. Although I'm not feeling that sting like the last 2 generations ago. So sorry.
yeah. I mean, the thing that gets me is that, like, I mean, Sony and Microsoft money had all these games, especially Microsoft, and these games turned out to be not that good. They paid out all this money for not that much in return. I mean, let me put it this way: if I'm gonna pay your way, I'm damn sure gonna get my money's worth out of your ass, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, they couldn't even do that. I mean, Microsoft paid Ubisoft money. Well, we want parity between the Xbox One and PS4 versions of Assassin's Creed Unity. And actually, they did get parity because it was shitty across all platforms. So.
Yeah.
They got their money's worth. It was a piece of shit across all platforms.
No, buggy as hell, but at least it played, although not fairly good or very polished.
No.
Oh well, see, I'm a PC gamer, so I
didn't hear anyone.
I can't say nothing.
No, I didn't hear anyone say. I did not hear anyone, because remember when all those third-party games missed the Wii U? I didn't hear anyone say, "Man, Assassin's Creed is on our console, not on yours." I was like, man, I'm glad that piece of shit didn't get on the Wii U. I'm glad it skipped this, because let me tell you something. It's funny how Metacritic is everything until the games that are on your system don't score that well. Then Metacritic is useless. But that's not my topic.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Speaking about that, something that I've seen it a long time ago, when Red Knight was talking about this, when he actually said about the NP this time the NPD we're gonna change things up, as in, instead of putting numbers of a specific game on a specific platform. No, it's just that one game on all consoles. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Because a lot of games were outselling on the Wii. That's when they made that change. Because like Call of Duty sold the most. I think for when they put it on the Wii, it sold the most on the Wii. And you have this perception that companies want to, companies don't want to be known for selling the most on a quote-unquote kiddie console like the Wii. They want to sell big on the Dude Bro console, the bruh console, the Xbox, and the
super testosterone field consoles.
Yeah, and they want to sell well on the not quite Dude Bro console, the faux bro, as I like to call it, PS3. They didn't want a kiddie console like the Wii, so they want the Dude Bro and the faux bro. And the faux is in fake Dude Bro. That's PS3.
Yeah, because I remember seeing, I believe I've seen that on Active Gamer Life too, about the NPD, and it started having multiple consoles with the same games until once Wii games started selling well, and that's all of a sudden you start seeing Call of Duty selling the most on all consoles.
Yeah, I mean
when I saw that at the time, it didn't dawn at me that they were doing this just in spite of the Wii. But looking back at it now, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw the writing on the wall, and I didn't even it
Yeah,
didn't even hit my head. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
it's called bullshit, and it's basically there's something. When I was in college, I took a philosophy course, a track of philosophy courses, and one of them, one semester, was logic. It was based on logic, and there was this one thing that says, there's a saying that says, liars, statistics don't lie, but liars use statistics, right? Like you'll hear from Microsoft that they'll say we sold 100 million Xboxes, Xbox 360s, right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
They sold 100 million. They'll also in that number they'll also include the Xboxes they replaced when the Red Ring of Death was a huge thing. Okay, so I
No.
mean, should you be able to include shit that you replaced because the first units that came off were shoddily built? I mean, should should that count towards how many units you sold? I don't think it should. Really, Microsoft has sold like 70 million Xboxes, but I mean, it sounds better to say 100 million, over 100 million than 70 million. You know.
um, Going back to what I said earlier about my first talk about the whole Monopoly thing, back in 2012, remember when Wii U first came out, people seen it as like the worst thing ever. Oh my God! And then when
Yep.
PS4 was launched, it was like the best thing since sliced bread.
Yep.
Now, fast forward 2 years later, now it's kind of like it's sort of near equilibrium. Not quite there yet, but
It's starting to turn a little bit. I'm hearing
Yeah.
sites say that the Wii U is actually worth owning, and I'm hearing a lot of people, man, my PS4 is just hanging out. It's a freeloader. It's just sitting there because
also also
they're
yeah,
waiting on greatness, y'all.
yeah, also the, yeah, also the fact that someone just said, um, right now they can't see no. There's a specific person said that right now that gaming is in a freaking rut and there's nothing good to play. And mind you, this is a person who bashed the Wii U and currently doesn't own a Wii U. And not even looking at the Wii U or the games or the exclusive games or Nintendo made games for the Wii U. And around just around the opposite side of the spectrum, which is again Red Knight saying, "No, I'm good, man. I'm good over here."
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. People are like, there's nothing to play. Do you own a Wii U? I don't want to
See,
own that kitty ass console.
see,
I'm
I
like,
got
do you own a PC? I mean, because here's the thing. I have a gaming PC and my Wii U. I'm fine because
yeah, me
literally
too.
I am not impressed by Microsoft's first-party games, and I'm not really impressed by Sony's first-party games. And I'm pretty sure that Sunset Overdrive, because it didn't sell all that well on the Xbox, will be the next iteration in that IP will be a multi-plat and on PC. So I mean, I'm not exactly, oh my God, I won't be able to play these games. I'm like, I'll be fine. I mean, I'll tell you this much: I'm not paying Microsoft or Sony $60 a year for a fucking network subscription. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. And gets outages all the time or hacked.
I
Like,
mean, I'm not.
where's the backlash of that?
Yeah, I
I
mean, where.
You know, I still don't believe why people think that it's true that they say that they got free games with PS Plus or the subscription plan for Xbox Live. It People genuinely believe those games are free and just keeps just bugs me how stupid is
Uh,
Well, I will say
to.
this:
Yeah, paying for a
with
subscription.
Xbox, with Xbox, you actually do get the games, but it's kind of like it's kind of like I am part of a loyalty program with my merchants guild. So like I get because I do a lot of business with Japanese distributors, I'll get like free Sony stuff and free gift cards to various Japanese style restaurants and shit. You know, like it's a loyalty thing. But if you aren't part of that loyalty program, you can't play those games. But once you get them, they're yours. But I mean, with Microsoft, at least gives you that caveat. With Sony, once you don't have PS Plus, you're SOL.
Well, the quote unquote free games from PS Plus, from what I've seen, there aren't even any relevant or popular titles.
Yeah,
They're
that's the
not.
thing. They aren't good games. Like they're like, hey man, you can have some games that were okay, like 6 years ago. You know? It's like
Yeah,
I
seems
really don't care
like
about these.
budget games. But I mean, I'm not saying they are bad, but why do you have to bother? It's they look very indie. I mean, they don't look like it worth to pay a monthly subscription. I will say
Yeah.
that it will be worth it if were at least AAA games, like 3-year-old AAA games, but not even that. They are just a bunch of budget titles,
Well,
and
I mean,
I gotta
no, I
ask this.
understand what you're saying, but you have to remember this: Sony is trying to minimize expenditures and maximize profits right now. And the thing
In a
is
very
that
desperate
what people
way.
don't realize, well, what people don't realize that when Microsoft has those games for gold, they have to pay those companies money for
yeah,
those games. Like, and Sony can't afford to pay for AAA games. Like, they can't do it. So they're like, okay, here you can have these games that like you can get for like 10 or 15, like at the most 30 or 40 bucks on our store, or you can go to a GameStop and get for like 19 bucks used. You know, we'll give that to you. You can rent that for free as long as you have our PS Plus.
I have
Um,
I have to ask this. In that PlayStation Plus thing, are there any games of the Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter, or even Spyro the Dragon, or even Crash Bandicoot series of those games in there?
no Crash Bandicoot. Occasionally, well, this was not now, but back in the day on PS Plus, they would occasionally do Jack and Daxter trilogy, or like Jack and Daxter 1 or 2 or 3 or something, or Ratchet and Clank 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that. But now it's all like Last of Us and shitty budget titles that, like games that are like B tier, B and C tier.
Yeah,
Oh, so
you're not
wait a
gonna.
minute. So Crash Bandicoot was on the PlayStation Plus at some point, right?
No. What I'm saying is that they never had Crash Bandicoot on there. They had and they didn't really have Spyro because they don't own the rights to that anymore. They sold that when they started losing a ton of money on the PS3. When they really started getting into the PS Plus, they'd occasionally have Ratchet and Clank or Sly Cooper or what was the other one? Jack and Daxter. But not the whole trilogy, like 1 or 2 games from that thing, along with some other. I mean, it's very. Okay, let me put it this way: if games with gold is gold, PS Plus is like bronze. Okay, it's like I
Oh,
mean, it's nice, but it's not. Like okay, games with gold will give you like Tomb Raider with the DLC. It'll give you like Crackdown 2 or some shit. Like, I mean, some decent, good games that people liked.
true.
The other game will be like, you can have infamous Bloody Sunday or some shit. Blood Festival, not Bloody, Blood Festival. some shit like that. It's nothing really that you really like. I mean, like, okay, as someone who had PSN and I didn't spend my own money. Like I said, the Merchants Guild I'm with, I'll get that stuff for free, and I'll like get it for like 3, 6, 12 months, and I'll look at them like, I look at the games like for PS Plus, and I'm like, these games, none of these games really light me a fire.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
But I
it's
wanted
kind of
to make
like
this a.
it's kind of like how I
I
feel
wanted to
about.
make this. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's kind of like how I feel about Club Nintendo when they would like for the longest time where they'd have their new roster of games. It's like I already have these games. They're really good, but I already have them. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm sitting on like 900 coins right now, and there's nothing I can really want to spend it on.
I remember when the Wii was released and people complained that they had to pay more than $2 for a old game, for NES games, that they were too expensive and such. But I find it funny that currently, as the PS4 really doesn't have any must-have titles, one of the arguments they have is to say that, well, you can play PS1 games and PS2 games and PS3 games. I mean, they are talking. It's okay that the PlayStation 4 charges you for all games, but it was a big problem when we start doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making
Doesn't
that
worth it
comparison.
to buy. Doesn't worth it to buy a new console just to play old games. Uh, I mean, why do you see if you are really into retro gaming, you just buy the original console.
Yep.
And speaking of old games, I've seen that some people are some like excited for Battletoads because it's going to be DLC for the Xbox.
Oh god.
I think we reached the point where people are just thinking of Rare like it was the holy grail of gaming. Of like if it, I, um, I liked Rareware games. I like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo Kazooie, but I don't think if Microsoft actually invest again on those franchises, it will be a success because, for example, like people were upset that they teased people with Conquer for their game, and I'm like, Conquer, it's not that good.
Yeah, it is.
Uh, it's not.
Look,
I think it's overrated, and
any
people
game that
say,
has you
"Oh my
fight a
God, the
giant
humor!"
pile of shit.
But they say that they keep saying that Conquer have a great sense of humor, but
Yeah, it's
no,
great. It's
it's
great.
immature humor. It's
Yes,
humor that
that's the
you
humor.
fondly remember because you played those games where you were young. They
Look,
are
no,
it's
I have that
the
game right
humor.
now. I still look. Conquer stands the test of time. The controls suck. The controls were not very good for the time, but it's still funny. It's still like okay. In Conquer's Bad Fur Day, when you go to the farm and there's like this huge box, female box, on this little box, and she's afraid of the rat, and you got to bring him cheese to make him so fat that he explodes, and he says, pardon my French, get this big bitch off of me. That's funny as hell. Or the bee's like, I'm going to pollinate the babe. He's like, what do you mean the babe? That's a flower. I'm going to pollinate it. It's like, what the hell do you think I'm going to do? I'm a bee. I pollinate flowers. They don't show you what's going on, but you can imagine because, you know.
Well, I'm saying
I mean,
that...
we're going to agree to disagree on that one, but here's what people don't understand, okay? Rare was at its best. People think that Rare is just awesome by itself. No. Rare was at its best when it was mixed with Nintendo. Basically, if Rare was the peanut butter, Nintendo was the jelly. And together, it was beautiful. But,
yeah,
peanut butter by itself, I mean, have you ever just had too much peanut butter by itself? It's sticky, it's greasy, it needs to balance out that salt.
Okay,
peanut butter.
we disagree, but let me tell you why I think it's not that that great. If we can summarize the humor of Conquer, the game humor is full of sex jokes, substance abuse, and poop jokes, and dated movie references.
Yeah.
It's not funny that they added the Matrix reference just because. It's not funny. It's not. But yeah, we disagree.
Yeah. Look, let me put it this way, man. I play that game once every 2 or 3 months, once a season, like autumn, spring, winter. I'll play that game. I'll play it and beat it. And let me tell you something. There's so many, like, you fight the boss in the vault, and you have to hit him in his brass balls. And knock him off.
Seriously, man.
I mean, that's just, and you got to find the gears, and it turns out like the gear has a flip side, but his flip side's gay. No, the other side of the gear, like he wants to get all the female gears on him. But they're like, we're tired of your ass, so because the main big gear's gay. so the gear, you flip his other side and he's gay, and you throw him on, and his other side's happy that he's on the big gear. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. The sophomorific humor, I enjoy it. Because here's the thing. I mean, not everyone's gonna get George Carlin. George Carlin's more esoteric humor. But a fart joke is universal. Look, the ancient Greeks, the masters of tragedy and comedy and pathos, had fart jokes. I'm pretty sure if you look at a cave painting, there's a guy with his finger poking out and someone pulling it, and there's a cloud behind him. The fart joke is ancient. And I think it transcends because it's funny when it happens to someone who isn't you. You know, I mean, because that's the essence of humor, is that it's funny when it happens to not you.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking about
disagree. I understand what you're saying, though, that, you know, they aren't what they were always cracked up to be, and maybe they shouldn't be put on that pedestal. Fair enough.
Speaking about Conquer, might as well go to the other side of how Microsoft didn't want Rare to make a Conquer game and still get shot down by Insomniac.
Well, as Rare is right now, I wouldn't trust Rare to walk my dog or pick up my newspaper or, you know, cross the street without getting hit by a car, much less make a Conquer game.
Yeah, I'm remembering something. It's about Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10.
Yeah.
Those games were developed by Inti Creates, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But isn't that the same company made by the
Keiji Inafune.
co-creator? Yeah, by Inafune.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was like his
is.
little side project. I mean, here's the thing. Keiji Inafune has shown that he only makes Mega Man games because even his non-Mega Man games are, in
Mega
fact,
Man
Mega
games.
Man
Mega
games.
Man
Yeah.
games.
Like Azure Striker Gunvolt is Mega Man Zero. Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
Mighty Number 9 is Mega Man X. I mean,
Yeah,
and look, I have nothing against that. I like Mega Man. I just here's the thing. I like the IP of Mega Man. It's not enough to have a Mega Man style game. I want to see the story continue. I want to
Yeah.
hear more about Rockman. I want to hear more
yeah.
about Blues. I want to see. I want another Mega Man Legends. Damn it! I want another Mega Man Legends. Damn it!
Yeah, the thing I'm saying is
I
that
love that
Mega Man
series.
9 was came out after Inafune left Capcom.
I think he was about to leave because if I remember, no, it came out. It came out before he left because what happened was that Mega Man 9 came out, and then Mega Man 10 came out, and then they were talking about the other projects like Mega Man Universe, where you could like put in different
Okay.
Capcom IPs, and then Mega Man Legends 3. This was right before the 3D. No, this was right. This is right when the 3DS launched. Mega Man Legends 3. We were all so excited for that game,
Before,
and then
oh yeah.
Inafune left, and they canceled everything because the community didn't want Mega Man. That's what Capcom said. That's what Capcom said.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
It's
Oh my
just
god. I am.
this.
That's freaking
yeah.
hilarious, man.
Yeah, it's shit like this that made me make Bullshit Busters because that's bullshit. That's like Nintendo
Yep.
saying, "You guys want Legend of Zelda? Well, fuck you. The community didn't want Legend of Zelda."
Yeah,
Then
I don't blame you, man. That's also one of the reasons why I've lately been going back for more retro games than current day games.
yeah, currently the only support that Mega Man actually gets is from the Archie comics.
Yep.
It's sad. It's really sad that
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's not true. No,
Gracious.
no, Capcom is making a new Mega Man game. It's a board game. See, now we're just fucking. You see, that's called fucking with somebody. You motherfuckers want a Mega Man game? Well, here, a board game.
Yeah, that's they didn't
I
even
mean,
use
technically,
they didn't even use the American Mega Man one box art for Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I
yeah,
mean,
that's called trolling.
Yeah, that was definitely
that's
trolling.
called trolling a motherfucker right there. That's
yeah, but Capcom hasn't hadn't Capcom has been doing that from years. From
trolling
what I
people.
read, they have launched a lot of crappy cell phone games using the Mega Man IP.
Yeah,
Lots
they've
of
been shitting. They've been destroying the Mega Man IP.
Yeah, a lot of Mega Man Java mobile games.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
a lot of their classic IPs is either folded up or just mobile only. Like whatever happened to Breath of Fire or Ghosts and Goblins?
They made a mobile Breath of Fire game, and it was terrible. Like, I don't think anyone really like. I think it does well in Japan, but people like I'd rather give them $60 and get a console Breath of Fire game.
Yeah,
Asking Capcom for a new Mega Man game is like asking Konami for a new Contra game that doesn't involve Kojima.
Oh
If
god.
Konami release any kind of game, Kojima has to be the producer.
Yeah, we broke our
don't
foot off in
yeah.
Kojima's ass last Bullshit Busters.
Don't
Yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to
Don't bring up Konami. I'm mad at them.
Well, I'm pissed because I mean Konami has some really good IPs, but they're just leaning on Metal Gear and their
Yeah.
shitty soccer game. I'm like,
I'm
you
also
guys have Mystical Ninja, you guys have Bomberman, you guys have Contra, you have the friggin' awesome Gradius. Hell, you've got Parodius, you've got Poppin' Twinbee. I mean, like all
Yeah,
these awesome
Yep.
games, and yet apparently We're just gonna lean on a one-eyed
Did
guy.
you guys?
Yeah, that's
Did you
what I'm
guys?
mad. That's
Did
what
you
I'm
guys
mad at for.
played? Did you guys play Mystical Ninja Goemon for the Nintendo 64?
Yes, I did.
Uh,
One of my
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
favorite
heard
games
of it.
ever.
here's another IP Konami used to have. And he's pretty much dead too. Remember Sparkster?
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Ooh, I haven't heard that in a
I
while.
like that game on the Genesis, and I like the game. I had both versions. I had the one, well, both. The one on the SNES was technically a sequel. I had the one on the Genesis, and I had the sequel on the SNES, and both of those games are frigging awesome.
yeah. I just got Rocket Knight Advance on Sega Genesis about a week ago. It's pretty awesome.
The best shit ever.
My
First of
main
all, it had the
reason,
coolest theme song. I
yeah,
mean, Sparkster has the coolest theme song. I think he could have really been a mascot for those times, but it's just Konami wouldn't make enough games for him.
Yeah, well, speaking of Goemon 64, I remember that game because of the opening of the game, like a cheesy anime cartoon.
Oh, you mean with the fat guy ripping off his clothes?
No, when you boot up the game, it starts with a theme song with karaoke words at the bottom, like a anime opening.
Ah.
uh,
It's
Well,
so cheesy that
which
that I
one was this? Was this the one that was like a platformer, or was this the one that was kind of like a knockoff of Mario 64?
yeah, that one
The
was
one that
it.
was a knockoff of Mario 64?
Yeah, the game it's not that good, but for some reason I loved that ultra cheesy opening because it's like everything you see on a anime opening.
yeah. I tell
The,
you,
the second one is actually good. It's like a beat 'em up.
Yeah,
I,
that was the Mario 64 knockoff one, because I mean it was filled with inside jokes. Like Goemon's special ability was that he turned into Ultimate Goemon, and his hair got like he created this crater around him, and his shirt got ripped, and his eyes turned green, and his
Yeah,
already spiky hair turned blonde, and he had
Oh
this aura
God.
around him. Yeah, it
the
was a
game
ripoff
is
of Super
weird.
Saiyan. Yeah.
Yeah, the
uh,
game is really really weird. There's a guy, a muscle guy, that screams plasma
Yeah,
just
that's
because.
the fortune teller. Yeah, Plasma's awesome, dude. He
I tell
tells you where to
you,
go. He's like, Plasma! You have to go down the road to Mount Fuji. Huh.
Yeah,
I tell you another good IP that Konami apparently is dead now. Sweet Coding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Suikoden,
Yes. Yeah, I just
Suikoden, and Castlevania.
yes. The second one just got off on PS3 about a month ago, and I'm glad 'cause I don't have to pay $170 for it
You
for
know,
a physical copy.
I so hate that. Oh God, I hate those new Castlevania games they came out with. Oh my God, I hate those games.
yeah.
Yeah. The last good one was what? Portrait of Ruin on DS, I believe.
Uh, I have a love-hate relationship with Koji Igarashi. Um, I kind of like Koji Igarashi, because I like his Metroidvania stance on the Castlevania series. But
Yeah.
I'm a Castlevania purist. Like I like my Castlevania. Okay, I'm going into Dracula's castle. I'm fighting my way through bosses to get to Dracula. Like I don't
Oh
like all
yeah.
that other like oh snap. It's like Metroid.
You, yeah, you play some. You referring to Super Castlevania 4?
I love Super Castlevania 4. But with that being said, there's one thing that Koji Igarashi did that I will never forgive. He couldn't stand the fact that the first Belmont to defeat Dracula was Alexandra Belmont. So he retconned the shit. I'm
Hmm.
like, what? You don't think that a woman could kick Dracula's ass?
Yeah, that's a little
Unbelievable.
sexist.
I mean, because I mean, in the original continuity of Castlevania, Alexandra Belmont is the first Belmont to defeat Dracula. She gets help from his son, Alucard.
It wasn't Trevor Belmont, the first one that
No,
defeated
in the
Dracula?
original continuity, before Igarashi changed it, it was Alexandra Belmont. In the original continuity, the first Castlevania game, chronologically, was Castlevania Adventure, which was
Okay.
on the Game Boy. And that wasn't Simon Belmont, that was Alexandra Belmont, his mother. Now, his mother, while she was on her way to kick Dracula's ass, got a little bit of help from Dracula's son, Alucard. Apparently, they did a little bit more than get help because she had a kid. That kid's name was Simon. Therefore, technically speaking, Simon Belmont is either half or quarter vampire himself. And those 2 times he kicked Dracula's ass, he was beating up his grandpa. That's you beat up grandpa. That's low, Simon. That's low.
That's the grandpa once you dead.
Get back in your chair, grandpa.
Yeah, you now possess Dracula's rib.
Yeah, now it's like, and then they retconned it to where the first Belmont is Hector Belmont. And that was Igarashi because he was kind of being sexist. And then these new people, I'll give them this much credit. Those new shitty Castlevanias they made it, once again, Simon Belmont is in fact the grandson of Dracula. So, I mean, they did get that point, but they messed up everything else.
So where does Richter Belmont fall in all this?
Richter Belmont is Simon Belmont's grandson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that he's like one of my favorite Belmonts.
Yeah. Simon Belmont's son is Alexander.
Dracula actually shows up on Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in the very first Lords of Shadow, in the very first Castlevania game made by these new people, you play as this guy named Gabriel Belmont. Gabriel Belmont turns into Dracula by the end of it. So Gabriel Belmont is allegedly the first Belmont, and he has a son that he left behind named, I want to say, Trevor Belmont. Trevor Belmont goes to fight him. In the beginning of the game of the second one, he goes to fight Dracula, who's actually Gabriel Belmont. He fights him and he realizes, oh shit, this is my son. I just killed my son. He turns him into a vampire to save him, and Trevor Belmont's son is Simon. So yeah, Simon Belmont is Dracula's son in the new Dracula's grandson. So yeah, he's still beating up grandpa.
They're just making things up the fly by this moment. They're just making things up.
Well, the thing is that there's no established continuity for Castlevania. The guy who Konami, basically, they don't have the resources to juggle multiple IPs like Nintendo does. Yeah. Like Nintendo's like, okay, you're gonna get a Mario, you're gonna get a Zelda. You might get, you're gonna get some type of quirky IP you've never seen before. You're gonna get those. You're gonna get the triumvirate of games. We know we're gonna get a Metroid, because it makes sense, because people loved Metroid Prime. We shall not mention other M because,
after hearing all of those Belmont tree line, you would think the Legend of Zelda's timeline is actually much more fairer paced than Castlevania.
Well, the problem with Castlevania is that they change it. They've changed it so many times, and each new story, the only thing we know is that every 100 years Dracula's castle reappears and someone has to defeat him. But I mean, if you like Aria of Sorrow or Dawn of Sorrow, Soma Cruz is Dracula reborn. So I mean, it's I'm a Castlevania nut. So as you might be able to, but I digress. I guess my topic, if no one would object, is very simple. It's a movie topic because why the hell not? Warner Brothers executive said that their movies are edgier than Marvel's.
Oh God!
Oh,
Oh boy!
And I disagree. That's it. I just disagree. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna. Here's my argument, and I'm not gonna curse while saying it. I'm not even gonna raise my voice, much or if at all. I disagree. I say the opposite. I believe that it's very edgy for you to embrace the fact that your characters wear outlandish outfits and people are playing it seriously. So I would say that Marvel, like having Iron Man wear the suit he wears, having Captain America wear his classic Captain America suit, and having the Hulk, have those pants that he rips every single time he transforms, and Thor in his traditional outfit is sillier and more edgy than trying to make things ultra gritty and realistic in order to relate more to a casual audience.
yep, that's true. It's sad because you look around, it seems like everyone's trying to get that edgy look again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because have you seen the new trailer for Power Rangers? Dark and edgy.
No, that was the fake trailer that Saban got pissed off about. Oh, how dare you make Power Rangers edgy? No, I tell you what's a good example. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was edgy.
Oh God!
You talking about
please, don't bring that! Don't bring that!
Yeah, the one on Nickelodeon or the one from 2003?
No, the one from 2014. You didn't watch the 2014 Turtles? Directed by Michael Bay Jr. and Michael Bay?
You talking about the movie. You talking about the movie.
Man, what you think I was...
I thought you were talking about the one on Nickelodeon. I'm like, what?
No. That was totally edgy. It was edgy, and dark and gritty.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost couldn't stand looking at Megan Fox's rear.
I can't stand Michael Bay, so.
No, I don't. The only reason I saw it is because I'm a if you're in a certain age group, the Turtles, you got me. But that movie sucked.
I'm sorry. I'm a Ninja Turtle fan, and even I didn't bat an eye on that movie.
Well, I didn't. Well, I spent. It was matinee price, so it was like $5. So I mean, I couldn't really.
Even if it's going to be on cable, I still refuse to watch it.
Man, I had to do it just so that I could complain about it afterwards. So then when people said you didn't see, here's the thing: if you're gonna talk shit about something, watch it first, so then you can say you watched it. And like people like you didn't, because the argument of people who like something, you didn't even watch it. Actually, I did, and I still think it sucked. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but my point is that I think okay, it would have been edgy if okay, and I'm just gonna say this as someone who is went to school to be a sociology major and political science and studying human behaviors and social cues and stuff. But in today's dark, dismal society, really, I mean, like Man of Steel would have been a better movie in my opinion if it had been uplifting and made people feel good about themselves. If we had a Superman that, that was reminiscent of what we got in the 70s.
Yeah.
Instead, we got a film where Superman destroyed like 60 to 70% of the city he's supposed to be protecting and killed the guy. and
Still can't get over that.
It's Hollywood. They for some reason Hollywood is so afraid to make cheesy movies that it's cheesy, but it was just fun and enjoyable, like the old Ninja Turtles back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean,
in this day and age, the word cheesy is insulting. I'm like, what? Really?
I mean,
no.
they made a Michelangelo that couldn't say cowabunga. Like, it couldn't be about, like, they couldn't even have like Master Splinter in the new Turtles thing be Hamato Yoshi or be Hamato Yoshi's pet rat. No, it all leads back to April O'Neil because we can't have something be, dark. Or not dark, but like be silly. It couldn't be silly. It has to always be, well, look, I don't go to the movies. Look, I deal with enough realism in real life. I go
Yeah.
to the movies to escape.
Yep, like video games, all these dark, gritty games. It's like, why do I want to pretty much replay a stressful day on a TV screen?
Yeah. And
And people who get upset that we don't get a dark, gritty version of Zelda, a dark, gritty version of a
Oh
Metroid, a
my
dark,
God!
gritty.
well, actually, we
Why?
did
Why?
get a dark, gritty version of Metroid and Zelda. The dark, gritty version of Metroid is called Dark Space or Dead Space. Dead Space. And the dark,
But
gritty
I
version.
think they
No,
refer to
seriously.
a dark and gritty, but generic Hollywood dark and gritty,
No, the
like.
dark, gritty. We already have a dark, gritty. What's it called? Zelda. It's called Dark
But I
Side.
mean, with realistic 3D models, like they look like close to actual human persons, like Mass Effect and Dead Space. They want that kind of generic stuff. That's what
They,
I.
yeah, they
Yeah,
they
and,
obviously don't know Nintendo games because they done some dark stuff before. It's like
Yeah.
these guys never played Twilight Princess. These guys never played some of the Mario RPGs like Partners in Time. The Toads actually get their energy drained and they actually die in the game.
Now
That's
I'll tell you
dark.
something that's dark, gritty. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Samus just Samus commits genocide on an entire world. She wipes out every living creature on an entire world.
Yeah, it's like,
I
and
mean,
this thing that people ask for dark and gritty games, it's like the same concept. They believe that horror movies, for in order to be horror movies, they have to have blood and gore and screams and jump scares.
I have
Uh,
a I have
yeah,
a
it's like they for the common denominator.
yeah.
It's too generic. Like
Uh,
they associate comedy with Adam Sandler and dumb things. Uh,
I have I have another good example of a dark Nintendo game. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
oh god, that is so
Yes.
dark because you
Yeah.
Princess
find out.
Peach.
No,
Princess
go
Peach
ahead.
gets possessed. Princess Peach gets possessed by Shadow Queen, and then after a certain amount of turns, Shadow Queen will actually grab the audience, eat them alive. She'll swallow them, but you don't see them actually get eaten alive. She'll swallow them and gain full health back, and they don't come back at all.
No, I have an even darker thing in that you find out all those awesome transformations you get in Thousand Year Door are from the cursed heroes who sealed the queen away in the first place. And
Yeah.
like you find out
I
what these
know.
people had to go through, and it's absolutely horrific because even though they won, they still lost.
You
Yeah.
know, I know about a dark game from a French developer. It's a game made in RPG Maker in 2008 and recently got cult status because of the English translation. The final boss, it's a baby. He can't
Oh
attack
boy.
you. The only thing he can do is defend himself, and
Oh
you
wow.
control a batter, a baseball batter. So
I,
you have to beat the baby to death with the bat, and that's
yeah.
the
Is that
final boss.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Just like
that's some effed
and,
up shit right there. I'm
and,
that
and
sorry.
that
one
that?
more and one more from me, and I'll keep my mouth shut. All you gotta tell these guys, Gigas, Earthbound.
Yep. Gigas is like the most effed up boss I have ever. No, no, no. I'll tell you a more effed up boss. Anyone here ever played Super R-Type on the SNES?
Yeah, I got that. I got that game.
Anyone got to the final boss where like it looks like they're fetuses inside of it, and
Oh
you have to
gosh.
destroy the fetuses in order to beat it?
Yeah.
But in order to destroy the fetuses, you have to shoot your R-Type unit inside of it, and just like hope that it gets deep enough into it to hit its weak spot.
Mm.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was bad, and people. But you know, look, man, I'm telling you, Nintendo's kidding.
Japanese game design when it comes to those kinds of bosses, I noticed they were also much more scarier. It was scary, but it was also cool at the same time. They toned down a lot nowadays, though.
Well, they had balls. Like they had, like, remember how like Kefka became a god at the end of Final Fantasy VI,
Yeah.
and like you essentially had to kill God.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, will you eventually play Final Fantasy 15? Because I don't know. You're so
No,
anti.
no.
You know, I'm gonna have to. You know, I might play it on PC, and
Yeah,
I'll
me too.
probably. Like, here's the thing, okay? I might play it on PC. It's probably a swell game. But for me, when Hironobu Sakaguchi left the Final Fantasy franchise, it lost its magic.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy isn't what the Final Fantasy that they're making right now is not the Final Fantasy that Final Fantasy could and should be. It has the name Final Fantasy, but it's not Final Fantasy.
It's a
It's
boy
one.
band simulator.
I call it final concert on tour.
It's
Yeah,
not really. I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? When I think of Final Fantasy, I think of playing Final Fantasy VI as Sabine and suplexing a train.
Yeah. That's awesome. Always is.
You know, but they don't do that now. Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead, Mario.
yeah. I'm not interested in the game, but I think I will eventually play it on PC just because I am just watching the screenshots from Player Essence, and yeah, they look exactly like that trailer that was like 9 minutes of boy a boy band running and running and running and running and doing nothing. Did you guys watch that trailer? That it's the trailer for Final Fantasy 15. They drive a car, then to go walk in a field, and that's the trailer.
You know,
No, I
every time
haven't. Not since
every time I
2013.
see this game, there's a part and there's a feeling in the pit of my stomach that says, if this game sucks, Final Fantasy is over. And a part of me is like, good, they won't rape it anymore. And
Yeah.
another part of me is like, damn, we'll never get a good one. But
With
then I
the art,
realized,
We haven't
with
had
the
good
art
ones since 10.
design, with the character design, I think they are catering to the deviant art community because they look like a Japanese J-pop band. It doesn't look like Final Fantasy anymore.
Doesn't. I don't even see.
exactly.
I don't even see an anime SJRPG look that kind of hideous with character art like Tales of.
No.
None of their characters are that ridiculous looking.
And their
I
characters look pretty anime-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think that Sasuke from Naruto couldn't be more emo,
Emo,
they
yeah.
do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just when you think
Oh boy.
just when you think it's gone too far, you're like, man, this is as far as it can go. I thought Lightning was
Naruto.
as
Ugh.
fugly. I thought Lightning was as fugly as they could get as character design, but then they just when you think that's as fugly as they can go, nope, it goes deeper.
Yeah, and I remember when people complained that Squall was a moody character that wasn't as charismatic as Cloud, and then you see a Lightning from Final Fantasy 13, and uh, Lightning doesn't it for more. It doesn't matter how many costumes and styles they give to that character.
She's still fugly.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you're controlling a mannequin.
yeah, you can't. I can't. I just don't want. Lightning's just. Yeah, Nomura-san's girlfriend. It's just she's. I don't know. I just don't like her.
All I'm gonna say
She's
is
just
this.
annoying.
The best Final Fantasy characters that I've ever played. Because I'm one of those people. I don't like 7 all that much. I mean,
wow, we're gonna
I
get
know,
along just fine then.
I know everyone's like, oh my god, Cloud Strife is so badass. No, he isn't. You want to know who's the most bad? You want to know who? I'm gonna name 4 of the most badass characters in all of Final Fantasy history. Number 1, Sabin, because this motherfucker could suplex a train, or anyone really. A god, a train, a dragon. Look, anyone who can suplex a train, I'm not fucking with. And he did it with his bare hands. Number 2, Cecil, who had a really stupid name, but Cecil when he was a Dark Knight in Final Fantasy IV, because that was just badass. I'm sorry. Number 3, and I know this, I'm gonna get some hate for this, but Tella from Final Fantasy IV, when he was dying. Like, this dude only had like 999 health, and he's chain casting all of these awesome spells, like Meteo and Holy and Graviga and just everything. And he's dying, and he's just enraged that his daughter's dead. He's just going full power. That was a badass Mamma Jamma. Number 4, and I know this might be a bit controversial. I know some people would say, well, Terra, who got to, she was half Esper. I mean, she ought to be badass. Cyan from Final Fantasy VI, because that dude's whole family was killed. That awesome sword text.
I've never been so sad for a sprite-based JRPG, like literally.
Yeah,
I was shocked when I found out Kefka just poisoned everybody and laughed about it.
A 16-bit character, I have never felt more sad than for a 16-bit for video game character when his family died and he gets there and like they die in his arms. I mean, that's just some sad shit.
And Final Fantasy VII fanboys go gaga for Sephiroth? Bitch, please.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: Kefka would eat Sephiroth for breakfast and shit him out for lunch. Okay.
I love how the internet has this double standard to bash a video game as being overrated, and everyone agrees and gives you thumbs up. It's okay to say, man, Ocarina of Time, it's overrated and dated and it sucks and isn't good as a link to the past, and everyone agrees and applauds you and gives you thumbs up. But don't you dare to say Final Fantasy VII is one of the most glorified, overrated games of all time. They dedicate videos to like, let's look at the lore of Final Fantasy VII. You see, there was a life force that everyone goes. It's the any 13-year-old kid that makes a RPG Maker game can come up with the plot from Final Fantasy VII.
Now, here's the problem with Final Fantasy VII. It's like, okay, it's not a bad RPG within of itself. It's a product of its time. Okay, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog was awesome in the 90s because he was made to be awesome in the 90s. But Sonic the Hedgehog really doesn't work very well now because Sonic the Hedgehog isn't timeless. Like Mario, despite whether or not you hate Mario or like Mario, if you're a Nintendo or Sega, if you're a Sega fanboy, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this. Sonic the Hedgehog is not timeless. He was created for his time. He was created for the 90s. He was awesome in the 90s. Now, I mean, he's not timeless. Mario is timeless. Mario was
Yeah.
awesome in the 80s. He was awesome in the 90s. He was awesome in 2000s. And now in the 2010s, he's still going to be fucking awesome. Because
Yeah.
he's created to be that way.
Kind of, yeah,
Because
just like Spider-Man.
Sonic follows the definition of cool of the 90s.
Exactly. He's
Yeah.
cool for the 90s.
Yeah.
Sonic was edgy. He was cool for the 90s. Now,
Yeah.
like, let me put it this way. Like, okay, in the 90s, it was cool for people to come up to you and go, yeah, man, that's totally rad. Awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Now, if someone came up to you with spiky hair, wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt and shorts, and, jorts, jean shorts, and high-top sneakers, with one sock rolled up and one sock pulled down, and an earring in their ear, and now they're like in their mid to late 30s, and they go to you, totally rad and awesome, dude. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. And that's why, and like Nintendo embraced the Mario. They were like, you know what? He's a weird, quirky Italian guy. Got sucked into a pipe. Now he's in the Mushroom Kingdom. Embrace it. It works for them.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't try to make Mario cool or hip or edgy. They're like, he is what he is, and that's why he's timeless.
Yeah, it's kind of. I know of another double standard. Like people like, oh, Mario's same old, his rehash. But you look at a movie franchise like Star Wars. It's like Star Wars keep going over and on and on and on, and guess what? We don't call that rehashed or needs to change.
Well, you know what? To tell you the truth, after looking at that prequel trilogy, I wish they had rehashed the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I wish I had just had that. You know, it's just like, this is just like the first Star Wars. If that second movie, this is just like Empire Strikes Back. If that third movie had come out, I'd be like, this is just like Return of the Jedi. But it wasn't. It was not like any of those three movies. I wish Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was like any of the other three Indiana Jones films.
Oh,
but it wasn't.
You know about Star Wars. When I watched the original trilogy, I had the idea that the soldiers with the white, the Imperial soldiers, they were just regular guys with a suit, with a helmet. But then the prequels came out and they said that basically every single stormtrooper is a clone.
Yeah.
But then I watched the trailer for the new movie and he's not a clone, and I'm confused.
Well, you know, personally speaking, I heard a lot of people talking shit about that. I think he's wearing a disguise, personally speaking. I could be wrong, but I think he might be wearing a disguise. I'm just saying.
Well, it could be.
These dudes are supposed to be... The thing that always got me was, like, the stormtroopers were supposed to be this elite fighting force when they can't hit someone at point-blank range in the face with a gun.
It's like the Emperor's soldiers, the red ones from the Return of the Jedi. I think they look really cool, but they don't do anything. They are worthless.
Well, they were totally worthless because they're supposed to protect the Emperor, and yet they send the one guy who has the will and the weapon and the powers to kill him right there to him, and he's got his lightsaber right there, you know. And he uses the Force to take it. And he's about to kill him, and the only dude who saves him is Darth Vader. He's like, psh. And by the way, that is the coolest sword cross in film history. It's so awesome.
It looks cool. You know, I watched a review of No More Heroes, and there's a character that has a lightsaber similar to this one for the new movie. It has also the laser thingies that came out side by side.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was the second beam katana you could get in that game for Travis Touchdown. It was like a broadsword one that had like 3 things in it, and you could like use it to hit like a group of dudes at one time with the down finisher. It was really
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, don't you guys think it's weird that when the Wii Motion Plus came out was actually the best platform for a Star Wars lightsaber game or a Leeds and Rail like the arcade game, but they rather developed a game for the Kinect when
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
yes.
That is funny as hell, man.
I was scratching my head on that one.
I mean, to
yeah.
tell you the truth, the Wiimote even before Motion Plus came out was the best one for a lightsaber game because it's the most intuitive for a lightsaber. I don't get why they didn't grab that one, but you know,
Yeah.
didn't EA have the license at that point? The Star
Uh,
Wars license at that point, EA.
Maybe I think that's the reason, just to not give more support to Nintendo, because just imagine the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword proved that the technology was good enough to make an adventure style game, Star Wars, where you can actually have lightsaber duels, and that game will actually be really cool. But third-party companies, they rather to develop to Kinect, and that's tough, and it's really sad because it could be what people expected when they bought the Wii U on the first place. I think many people believe that they will eventually see a Star Wars game for the Wii, but that game never came out. They just keep making shovelware Star Wars games for the Wii.
You know, I think that with the, I think we will see a Star Wars game on the Wii U, but knowing EA, it's going to be a dumbed down thing that they're going to be like, well, the system can't handle what we really want to put on there, so uh,
Yeah, it's just excuses. I mean, they ported Star Wars The Force Unleashed to the freaking DS, but and I don't like Star Wars The Force Unleashed. It's the same dark and gritty thing with the same old thing. I don't-
You want to know some excuses? Well, I've been meaning to bring this topic. Actually, I had two topics, but I forgot what the other one is. But this one is about Rock Band 4 coming back on PS4 and Xbox One. Strange enough, they forgot about the Wii U. But then this excuse about there's not the fans are not exactly on the Wii U or on Nintendo console period. That means even last gen. Now, I took this as a grain of salt, and I was like, okay, I'll believe you. I'll believe you. But then when they went with the whole begging part, I was like, you tickled me in the wrong way. Port begging, and Furious Francis from Player Essence, shameless plug by the way. He actually said that he would not do any type of port begging. But when I saw that, something told me, you know what? Let me check the sales of Rock Band and see if the fans of Rock Band really was really not on the Wii or the DS side or on Nintendo platforms last gen. Period. I went to VG Charts. Yes, we know that that place is not exactly uh, um, accurate, but it's the closest thing that we got, and almost on the ballpark. Well, I start counting the sales of Rock Band, and I mean every Rock Band game that was released on the three consoles, the PS3, the Wii U, I mean the Wii and the Xbox 360. Oddly enough, I also found out that they've released the game of the franchise on the PS2 as well, and I was like, in that one, I was like, okay, I'll give him a benefit of the doubt because it seems like there was no Rock Band game for the first Xbox, which I find that very peculiar, and the GameCube, which yeah, I'll give them that because since it was not exactly online, but then I also noticed that uh, they released it on the DS and the PlayStation Portable. And I was like, okay, I can see why they're saying that. But then when I start actually comparing the sales of all consoles and handheld for the PlayStation, the one for Nintendo platform, and and only the Xbox 360. Well, I come to the conclusion that with the PS3, the PlayStation Portable, the PS2, all of them amounts to 9.5 million. The 360 is 8 million point 53. What I found surprising here is that the rock band for the Wii U and DS for a total of 8 million point 56, and I was wait a minute, wait. Are you telling me that on a Nintendo platform, the Rock Band franchise sold more than Microsoft's Xbox 360? So that means it's supposed to be the PS4 and the Wii U, right? If counted by sales, that's where your fans are, right, Harmonix? But then when I find out who was the publisher for the Rock Band series, which one is out of three of them, one is MTV Games, the other one is Warner Brothers Interactive, and the last one is none other than EA.
Oh well, shit. Well, there you go. It's
So
EA. I mean,
so that was already a red flag to me. Plus, the Nintendo platform is actually second to Sony platform. So I'm like, really, Harmonix, are you guys really lying to my face? And I gave you a benefit of the doubt earlier, so I don't know uh, what to believe now. Because it's starting like this is going to be the same fiasco with Ubisoft. So anyone wants to talk about this? Because I find this really odd.
well, I mean, you just asked
Yeah.
a very simple question. I mean, it's EA. I mean, like, here's the thing, okay? Like, I have come to the conclusion that if it's EA, if you're a Nintendo fan and EA is involved, you're gonna get screwed over. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, okay, almost every game that has come to the system from EA has been shit. Or it's been like, if it was great, there was like a caveat added to it. Like, okay, you're going to get Need for Speed Most Wanted, and it's going to be the best looking version of the game released, but you're not going to get any of the DLC. And for a game like Need for Speed, you kind of need DLC for games like that because the extra content adds value. So, I mean, or hey guys, you're gonna get Mass Effect 3, and we're gonna release the trilogy next week for the same price as we're releasing this version that has none of the DLC, none of the extra stuff, not even the Prothean DLC, but it's gonna have the fixed shitty ending. So there you go, guys.
And the thing is, regarding the third parties, the games like you just said it well, Red Fox. The games that actually came out well, for some reason, it wasn't up to parity as the other consoles. Which I'm like, oh my god, why do you guys like moving the goalpost? Now you wonder why most Nintendo fans do not freaking trust you.
No, it's like this. It's like, hey guys, oh, you guys want that Madden game? Okay, you can use the gamepad to set up plays on the fly and stuff. But we're gonna be using the same engine we use. Like it's gonna look even worse and play even worse than it does on the PS4, or the PS3, or the Xbox 360. Even though the Wii U is much more powerful than the Xbox 360 and the PS3. But
It
forget
is.
that.
I thought it was last gen.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if someone says this is a game and it's from EA, I'm just gonna be like, you know what, fuck it. If it's from EA, I'm just, EA game coming to a Nintendo console is like a brown paper bag, and whatever's in that bag, you're not gonna like it. Could be something you're allergic to. Could be dog poop. Either way, you're not gonna like it. Or it's gonna be subpar, And I mean, and part of it's our fault because we're Nintendo fans. Nintendo pampers the shit out of us, generally speaking. Okay.
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking, Nintendo goes out of their way to give us a great okay. They're like, here's a game. It's a budget title, but guess what? It's got like 80 levels in it, so it's gonna take you more than 10 hours to beat it. Here's a Mario game. It starts out kind of easy, but by the end of the game, it's gonna be hard as nails, and you might be cursing us out. Curse you, Tokyo EAD, Team 2. Here's a Legend of Zelda game, and it might start off easy, but later on. Oh, by the way, okay, I think we've gone on long enough. Does anyone have anything else they want to say before we wrap these things up?
Now, I just want to say this. Topping on what you were saying, with F-Zero. Hey, people, we're gonna give you GX on the game for the GameCube. Guess what? Didn't sold enough. Well, that wasn't the last F-Zero game, so we're gonna put one on the GP Legend, that takes off with of the anime GP Legend of Falcon on the Game Boy Advance. Guess what? That didn't sell well. Well, the last F-Zero game that ever created from Nintendo, well, that stayed in Japan. You know what happened? That one also flunked. So reason why we're not getting an F-Zero as soon as we would like.
Yeah, I can dig it. I won't. What can I say? People didn't buy it. What the hell, And F-Zero has always been a showcase of the power of the hardware. Like F-Zero is Nintendo's benchmark game. Like it was there to benchmark the different modes for the SNES. And then when N64 game came out, it was there to benchmark the power of the N64. And then when the GameCube came out, it was there to benchmark just how badass the GameCube was. And yes, the GameCube was one of the most badass consoles Nintendo ever made. And it's and the GameCube is the reason why when I hear third parties whatever third parties say about why they can't put a game on a Nintendo console, it's bullshit. Because every console they've made after the GameCube was based on GameCube architecture. GameCube was powerful enough. Okay? The Wii was powerful enough. The Wii U is powerful enough. You can put anything, it's powerful enough. There's no excuses for you not putting a game on that system other than you just don't want to do it. And I wish they'd just be man enough to say, I don't want to do it. But, I hope they make a game that really showcases the power of the Wii U. An F-Zero game that showcased the power of the Wii U.
Well,
that really pushes it to its limits. They could even steal that anti-grab thing from Mario Kart 8 and put it into F-Zero.
I was about to say, we're getting two games showcasing the power of the Wii U, which is Xenoblade Chronicles X and probably Legend of Zelda. But yeah, Mario Kart 8 kind of take that first step.
Mario Kart 8, well, except Mario Kart 8 still shows that the Wii U is the last gen console because it's only 1080p, 59 frames per second. that one frame is missing, son. That one frame, it dips down. It goes 60 down to 59, then back up to 60. I want to know where that frame is.
Doom, I tell you. Go third party, go on my PS4, because I can't touch a Wii U. I might get Ebola.
Dang!
I don't know about Ebola, but Nintendo, I mean, it's just, look, my friends aren't playing on the Wii U, and I want to play with my friends. And, play their shallow-ass games they like to play. I want to play The Order. I want to play a game I can beat in 10 hours in one sitting. That's like a night of straight-through gaming for me. So...
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mario Kart 8, I'm like 300 hours in still.
And I still haven't unlocked everything in that game.
Oh, snap!
No, because I don't play it that much. I have maybe 100 hours in it, and I'm still I'm waiting for the next round of DLC. Because when the DLC came, I played it a lot, and then I lost interest once I unlocked everything and 3-starred everything. Now I'll go back and play it again when the new DLC comes, because there's more stuff to play. I mean, the flaw with Mario Kart, in my opinion, has always been that its single player sucks. It doesn't really have much of a single player, and that's the flaw with it. I mean, that's why everyone's like, I love Mario Kart 64. I like Diddy Kong Racing on the 64 more than Mario Kart 64 because it had this awesome single player. It had an overworld. It had shit to find. It had bosses. I like games like that.
I always thought it'd be cool if they did the Mario Kart single player mode in the future where it had maybe some RPG elements in it. Maybe that'd be awesome implementation in the future.
Yeah, but that's just how I feel. That's just my own personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I want to see. But maybe I'm being an asshole. But personally, I'd rather see a Diddy Kong Racing too.
I guess I'm very, very easy to please. So, of all the games that I've seen that didn't do that for me, yeah, what the bloody hell are they doing?
This is a quick topic. It ain't gonna be nothing too long. I've been thinking. I see people talking about, oh my gosh, Splatoon don't have voice chat. We have a voice movement going on. It's voice chat, in my opinion, is a bonus. It's not nothing that's necessarily needed to enjoy a video game.
Well, it's not mandatory. I mean, as someone who has had access to voice chat through PC gaming since I was 13, so for 17, 16 years, voice chat for me is not really a big deal for me. But I mean, I understand where people are coming from, but I'm not gonna raise a stink about a game not having it when I see how innovative the game looks, how fun it looks. I'm gonna let that stop me from playing that game.
Exactly. And also not only that, when you think about it, Splatoon is it's pretty much a shooter that actually has a good single player mode to it. It's not nothing like Call of Duty where it was just slapped on at the very end.
Yeah, and they're actually, but it's Nintendo. When they said we're gonna have a single player, I'm like, it's gonna be awesome. I don't have any questions. Nintendo has never let me down with a single player campaign, ever.
Speaking of Splatoon lack of voice chat, I want to see what will be the reception of Tom Clancy's The Division. It's going to be a shooter MMO, something like that, with chat voice, with voice chat. So let's see if that's actually useful when the game comes out. Like they are
Yeah.
making a big deal about it. Like Splatoon doesn't worth the buy if they don't have voice chat. Let's see how is the reception for that game.
Well, let me put it this way. It's coming from
It's an
Ubisoft, so I don't have much hope for it. Like, if this game was coming from Microsoft or Insomniac, or even 343, or I don't really have much hope for Sony internal first-party studios right now. So not from them. But it's coming from Ubisoft. I don't have much hope for this game being good because the crew
Oh.
sucked. Yeah, the crew sucked. Assassin's Creed 4 sucked.
know that-
I mean, Assassin's Creed Unity sucked. Far Cry 4 was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. It was okay. And I have Assassin's Creed 4. I mean, not Assassin's Creed. I have Far Cry 4. It's okay. I mean, it's not what I'd call, oh my god, this game has changed my life. You know.
You know what I find ironic about the crew when Ubisoft said that it wasn't going to be on the Wii U because of the online infrastructure, and guess what failed for them on that game? The online infrastructure.
What, the crew or Assassin's Creed Unity?
The crew.
Well, I mean, the crew was just gonna look. The crew was not gonna be good to start with. I mean, let's be frank, okay? Ubisoft's games, the quality of Ubisoft's games have gone down, right? Like it seems like because basically they go for quantity, not quality, right? Like you've got like 10 Assassin's Creeds over the last 2 console gens thus far.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that is too many damn I mean, and it's become the Assassin's Creed over the last 3 years has been yearly. Every year, a new Assassin's Creed. I mean, and here's the thing. You cannot make a good game, a good open world game in a year. You can't do it.
No.
I mean, hell, I mean, let's be frank. Sony has a studio ready at dawn that spent 4 years and couldn't make a good game. So, those people had 4 years and they couldn't make a good game. I mean, sure they were mobile developers, so I mean, not to diss mobile developers.
I
but
think Ubisoft is reaching diminishing returns because
that's all.
they go at the gimmick of better graphics, but
That's across the board.
yeah. Yeah, major third-party developers are reaching this point because as people don't realize that better-looking games means higher costs and man hours to craft some graphics.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think it's funny how all these hipster gamers want to do AAA gaming, but it's like. You look at Ubisoft games like Rayman Legends or Child of Light, those games aren't all big AAA, huge budget, but they're pretty good games.
Those are like the best games they've released, are non-AAA games. Which should tell you something.
Yep.
Like, the best AAA game they released was Far Cry 4, and that game took 2.5 years to make.
Yeah.
I mean, you notice something. Like, there should be a clue to Ubisoft. Maybe instead of trying to be the French EA, we should instead be just doing good at what we know we can do well. Like, okay, we're going to spend 2 years to make this game. Like, I know Assassin's Creed would be a better game if they spent 2 years to make it. because like the game would release, they'd hear the feedback people would say. It's like, we like this, we didn't like this, we like this, we didn't like this, and then they wouldn't be rushed to make a game. They'd say, okay, we have time to see if this game is good, and then 2.5 years down the line, the next one releases, and it's a different experience. But I mean, my God.
Um, I know that this is topical, but the order 1886 is a good example of what the people is expecting and what they actually get. You have to give them credit in the graphics department. Although it's a dark and gritty game and that stuff, they put so much effort on the backgrounds, the scenarios, the models, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's the stuff you don't actually need for a game. It's just the
True.
background, just
Yeah.
fancy graphics that don't add anything to the game itself.
Well, the Order 1866 is more of an interactive movie, but
Yeah,
I have to disagree with you on saying that the graphics are good. Anyone here remember how on the N64 they had fog in the background, right? To like
I'm
to lower
referring
because the processing
to
power was at a certain
add
level.
detail
I
to
played
small
Order.
things that like
Order.
pipes and small objects.
I
And
played the.
that level of fidelity, it's what people is actually expecting on open world games like
Yes,
Grand
and
Theft
it's not.
Auto and stuff like that. But Rockstar will have a really hard time to live up to those expectations
It's like when we talk about
because
bills.
it's going to be really expensive to make a game with that graphical fidelity. So it will be two things. They will spend a lot of money that the game will need to be a huge success to get actual income for the company, or they will do the safe thing and make a game with similar graphical fidelity like Grand Theft Auto 5. But this will disappoint the public because why did they bought the PS4 if they are going to have the same production values as the PS3? They
Yeah, that's
can.
Well, I
I
mean,
always find that stupid.
I'll be frank with you. I actually like Rockstar games, but my favorite Grand Theft Auto was and will always be GTA San Andreas. I like Carl Johnson. I like Sam Jackson as the bad guy. Um, I'm sorry, Carl. Did I break your concentration? He never said that, but it would have worked perfectly.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that people is expecting this graphical leap, like from PS1 to PS2 to
No,
PS3.
it's not going to be
Hey,
that.
But
TGP.
but they won't get it on this generation, and I'm sure of it because we reach, as I said, a point where if they want to accomplish that, it's gonna cost.
Well, you're going to
Hey,
be
TGP.
spending what you're going to be spending for the Steam machines. Like, if you want what the graphical leap from the N64 to the GameCube now, then you're going to have to spend um, like between $1,000 to $5,000 on whatever you're gaming on. And most people don't want to spend that. So,
Here, here's the thing. When people,
People want consumer level prices, yeah, but they want a luxury graphics for consumer level prices, and
yeah.
that's the
yeah,
problem. It's going to be expensive for the company to meet those expectations to the point that they will have to play it safe. They will have to make more annual releases of known IPs, and more shooters. They will keep releasing shooter after shooter after shooter.
Oh God.
They
And here's
will
the
keep adding those practices of microtransactions like Evolve. Uh, Why? Because it costs.
and here's the
Because they got themselves in that hole of keep making big talk like we can do better graphics and high fidelity, but they don't talk that's expensive, and that will be expensive for the developers and for the clients. So we're going to reach the point where a retail price won't be enough.
Yeah, but dude, you're speaking sense. And we all know, like, we all heard this. We've all heard the antagonist. This is next gen graphics. This is next gen. Like, we heard these bastards. We heard these bastards say, "Oh, well, the reason we can't make a game that it will do X, Y, or Z is because we're held back by the hardware." The hardware. Now, here's the thing:
you got parts for the hardware.
they underutilize the hardware. Every single generation they underutilize the hardware. The N64, they underutilize the hardware. They only use 60 to 75% of the full potential of the SNES. They underutilized like 80. They only utilized like 60 to 70% of the full potential of the SNES. They only utilized like 80% of the full power of the NES. I mean, basically, developers don't want to use hardware to its fullest. They want to be lazy and say that's why third parties wanted the Xbox One and the PS4 to be so PC-like. So now they don't have to do any optimization. They just port their shitty little game from their developer PC, scale it down a little bit, and put it on a console.
Here's the irony part of this. Remember, last gen that the Unreal 4 is going to be the de facto oh crap, what was it?
Development engine.
Yeah, the development engine to be on this this generation.
Yeah.
And Dr. Trey said this like 3 years ago, and he just made a video about it, and he actually used that same clip that he made 3 years ago in this new vid, saying the exact same thing, that Unreal 4 is going to be the thing to work on. We're certainly seeing that Unreal Engine 4 is not being used so much, and almost to the point of it's being free.
I love how the instant that the new new video comes out, it's like there's a bot that do like 12 dislikes the first second the video is up.
Yeah, like he releases a video, people are like, dislike. It's kind of funny, but kind of sad at the same time.
He probably don't care what they think either.
Nah, yeah, he's just having fun, and I love how he doesn't ban anyone and lets them bark. Yeah, but how those people who respond to him block the responses. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I'll tell you this much. I don't know about that, but I'll tell you this much. People really, like the most expensive thing in making a game, I would think, was in the 6th and 7th generation was the development engine, right?
That's going to end.
No, it's because everyone's got their own engine now. Like, but during the 6th and 7th gen, like if you wanted to use Unreal's engine, that was like $500,000 in the 6th gen. That was $500,000, and that was so that you could use it for 1 year. So if a game had a 2-year development cycle, you're already out $1 million. Before you did anything, you're already out $1 million.
But now 3. Unreal Engine is free.
That's what they say.
Yeah, they're saying it's free now.
I think it's free up front. I mean, because here's the thing.
If
The
you
people
make,
over at Unreal are in business to make money,
it's
and they
it's
have to
like
make their money.
Unity. It's like Unity. You can use Unity with the basic aspects. If you are an indie developer, you don't need any fancy stuff like the ferret lightning and a lot of stuff an indie developer doesn't need. If you develop a cutting edge graphics game, you have to pay the license.
Ah,
But isn't that expensive anymore. Um, you can pay like 3,000 dollars, 3,000 US dollars, and you get the full version of Unity, and it's more cheaper than $1 million.
well, I mean that's
Uh,
still pretty decent. I mean that's because I know that like what I suspect. Well, I shouldn't say I know. I suspect what Unreal is doing is that they're doing what you said is like you can use this basic version, it's free, but if you want to use these more advanced features, those are behind a paywall. And I'm thinking that like if you use, I think they're going to get a cut of the money if their engine is used in a game and it sells well. Like if it sells over these amount of units, like if it's a million seller, we get like
well,
10%
with
or something like that.
Unity, you can even sell the game with the free version. It's legal. The only condition is that if your company makes about $100,000 a year, you have to pay the full version. But let's be honest, if your company actually makes that kind of profit, you just have to buy the engine.
Anyway, yeah, and because you want to use the full features, you're just gonna have to buy the engine any damn way. So it's a moot point at
And
that
it's
point.
still, it's still cheap. Um, let's say, for example, the Wii U. Unity is free for the Wii U. The only cost is the development kit. So I think the era of in-house engines is going to end.
It needs to
Uh,
end.
yeah, it needs and it's going to be. I don't think the next generation we will keep hearing news about the new engine because all the other engines do the exact same thing.
No,
Exact same
well,
thing.
no, I shouldn't say that. I don't think the in-house engines are going to end. I think amongst third parties, they're going to have a standardized engine, like across all platforms. I think, like,
Yeah.
because I mean, I don't know what Nintendo uses. I'm pretty sure they aren't using Unity. I'm just like I'm
In-house,
reasonably certain they aren't.
in-house Nintendo games always be using code from the ground up
Yeah,
because
I'm
they
pretty
have
sure they're
money.
using. Yeah, they're
Because
using
they
their
have
own shit.
big
Yeah,
money.
yeah. They're
But
using their own stuff, but for third parties, I think it's easier for them, and
to
and,
buy,
and for like Square Enix, because I mean that's what did
yeah,
them in with Final Fantasy was like with Final
yeah,
Fantasy
we
14,
reached the
15,
point.
they were always coming out with a new engine every like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, we reached the point that even Square Enix is using a third-party engine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean that's not really shocking because let's be frank here. If you ever played Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6, or even 1, 2, and 3, those games were basically using the precursor to RPG Maker.
do you guys remember
For all
when
intents and purposes.
Ubisoft talked about these games, Child of Light, and what was the other one? The game about war.
Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, that it was developed on the Art Engine, and I'm like, you can do the exact same game in Unity. It's just impossible. the everything in Childlight or Valiant Hearts can be done on Unity.
Yeah, but it sounds cooler to say you can do it on the Valiant engine than to say you. I mean, because I
Well,
mean,
let
at a
me put
certain
it this
point.
way: if you have enough money, the Unity company can sell you the source code of Unity, and then you only buy this source code and change a few things, and you call your proprietary engine, and no one will notice. Nobody is going to to make engines anymore. Yeah, that thing is going to end.
Well, like I said, that's what ruined SquareSoft was that they just. I mean, that's what. I mean, this is why it's taken so long to get Final Fantasy 15 was that they kept on coming out with a new engine like every 4 or 5 years. They're like, oh shit, we got to use this new engine that we spent like not 200, like $20 million developing. I'm like, first of all, why would you spend that much money on a new engine? It's like, I mean, personally speaking, if you have an engine that works, why don't you? I mean, you can say whatever you want to about Call of Duty. They've been using the same engine, just heavily modified.
Even the same assets,
The same assets, the
video
same
pro.
engine. I mean, they use different, but they've been tweaking the same engine over the last like I want to say 10, 11 games. No, since like since the end of the PS2 era, it's been some form of that engine.
I
Like,
still can't. I still can't get over the whole. You swim in the water, the fish actually swim away from you.
yeah, when they were bragging about, I'm like, yeah, but we had that on the N64 and Mario 64, dude. Why are you bragging about that, son? You just got that technology. Nintendo had that 64 bits ago. You know?
It's really surprising that Square Enix makes the same mistake like George Romero, that when he was developing Daikatana, he had to change the engine every year because he was getting behind the times.
Well, because George Romero is a PC person, and I hate to say this because I have a PC, but a lot of PC developers kind of they lean on technology too much. You
Yeah.
know, it's not talent, it's technology. Well, we need the greatest engine. We need the best graphics. It's like, dude, if you were that good of a developer, you could, like, a good developer can make a good game no matter what if they have the talent. Like, like I said, my favorite GTA is GTA San Andreas. San Andreas doesn't look the greatest, but damn, it's fun. you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
works.
I like the
You know?
RPG elements especially.
Oh yeah, making your dude all fat so that you can hook up with the
Yeah.
right girl, or skinning him out so that you can hook up with the right girl, or trying to
Yeah,
lifting
something.
weights enough so that you can
And
be really good
then
to fight.
and then
Yeah.
they lock up the phone and put all the effort on the graphics, and we got Grand Theft Auto 4
Oh
that
god.
is
It's
lifeless.
strange. It's strange because it's like you can't lift weights in GTA 5. You can't necessarily really eat like you need to eat in GTA 5, and it's like it seems like they put more limitations to what you can do, like outside of stuff like that in exchange for graphics.
Yeah, I mean they really had fun making Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and I think that was the game that got the series into mainstream.
Yeah,
But
you can't even.
for some reason they thought, you know what, we got to get serious.
Yeah.
Why?
Like,
You
it's
can't
like
even.
the
You can't
missions.
even.
The
You can't even
mission.
drive a train in GTA 5. What
The
the hell?
missions in GTA in San Andreas were fun. Like you go into Area 51 and you steal a jetpack, or you buy an airstrip and learn how to fly. You steal jets and tanks and hide them in the jet hangar because that's the only place big enough to put a tank in the game legitimately. Or, I mean, it's just San Andreas and even Vice City. Those games are just fun. Vice City is fun because of the music and the
Vice City
atmosphere.
was great. It
San
was
Andreas,
like
Yeah,
those
a,
missions. fun.
Was like
I
playing
was
a good game of Scarface. It
Yeah.
uh,
I was
at
I was
least
telling a
you in
friend of
Grand Theft
mine.
Auto 4 you can play bowling with your cousin. In Grand Theft
Oh,
Auto 4.
I
I
hated
was
that. It's like if I really wanted to deal with real life relationships, I go outside and play with my friends. Like this is why I play
yeah.
video games, so I don't have to deal with the bullshit girlfriend. Hey, I want to go darts. Fuck.
I was telling somebody this before. It seemed like these well-established franchises that did all the open world stuff on PS2. It seemed like those games were like more timeless. It just felt better overall compared to how realistic they want to get with PS3 and up.
Well, they
Like
want
True
to go
Crime
too
Streets of
realistic.
LA on PS on True Crime Streets of LA on PS2. I love that game, but then here comes Sleeping Dogs on PS3. It's like, yeah,
Sleeping. Well, actually, I had that game on the GameCube. What did that game in was that they said it was going to be the GTA killer. If they
yeah.
hadn't said that, it would have been awesome. But they had to say that. Like anytime you say a game's going to be the X killer, it's not going to do well because people are going to be constantly measuring it against whatever you say it's going to be the killer of, and that's just not a smart
Also,
thing to do.
I've noticed you was saying about San Andreas. I mean, GTA 4 and GTA 5, it's like where all the cheat codes at compared to San Andreas. San Andreas. I mean, yeah, it was mature rated and stuff, but it also had that sense of wackiness with all the cheat codes and
All I
co-op.
needed was the cheat code that gave me $250,000 or $250,000 and maxed my health and armor out.
Yeah, it
That's the
was.
only cheat I
Yeah.
needed in that game.
Well, on the PS2 version anyway, San Andreas had two-player local co-op.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And that was one of the cheap ways you could raise your relationship with your girlfriend once you met them was to invite them to a two-player co-op mayhem mission.
You
And
know, Saints Row 4 feels more like a successor to San Andreas that Grand Theft Auto 4 is.
yeah,
Uh, it seems like they forgot that the games are supposed to be fun.
well, actually, I'll take it further. The closest Rockstar game that I've seen that feels like a sequel, like that carries on the GTA feel, is Bully.
Yeah.
Bully is the closest thing you're gonna get because Bully is fun. It's a little, yeah, it follows the GTA formula. Like, the GTA formula is this. You start the game, you have nothing. And then you get a little bit of status. And then you lose everything and go even further than you were when you had nothing because everyone hates you. Then you have to gradually claw back, find the person who backstab you, you fight them at the end, and they lose everything and you come out on top. That is the GTA formula. That's how it's supposed to go. Now, unfortunately, you didn't really have that in GTA 4. Like, the closest you got was the Ballad of Gay Tony, which is that was like Rockstar saying, "We're sorry, here's a real GTA game." If they had made an entire game that was basically based off the Ballad of Gay Tony, that would have been a better game than GTA 4 because the Ballad of Gay Tony felt like a GTA game. It was a little hard because it had assumed that you had played through the original mode, which I'll be the first one to tell you this. It took me 2 years to beat GTA 4. Not because I couldn't do it, but because it was so boring that I had to, you save and walk away, come back after a few months, like that.
Yeah, and maybe also the hype that was built around
I'm
GTA.
sorry.
GTA San Andreas was very popular and people it was a success and the anticipation for GTA 4 was very big. I think that was the problem. In fact, after GTA San Andreas was successful, I think every game wanted to be Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
We see the games from that era. Every single game was a open
Yeah.
world 3D game. Even movie games were released as a Grand Theft Auto game, like The Godfather and Scarface. But then Call of Duty take off, and now it has a throne. I wonder what will be the next fad. What will be? Seems like there's no ideas right now. Like we can expect the for the next 3 years the predominant genres we will see will be shooters and cinematic games.
Uh, I'm gonna have to disagree with you slightly because have you seen the usually when Activision when Call of Duty comes out like usually week after a new Call of Duty gets out, Activision be like we sold this many copies, but lately with Ghost and what's the last Advanced Warfare they haven't really made no such statement because I believe the series is
Yeah,
actually on
I
sales
mean
decline.
the interest is declining, but what I meant is that after Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty, we haven't seen a game that breaks into the mainstream.
What's the next fad? I'll tell you what's the next fad. They're gonna take it's turning established franchises into MMOs with paid content and DLC. We
Yeah.
saw this with Destiny. We saw this with Evolve. They're gonna take an established Evolve is basically kind of like a spiritual side sequel, side story to Left 4 Dead, but not really.
Oh yeah, you're actually
Um,
right.
so I think what they're going to do is they're going to take established franchises. Like the next Call of Duty game is going to be like a mix between Titanfall and what's it called?
Oh boy.
Titanfall and traditional Call of Duty, but the multiplayer is going to be like you got your bare bones multiplayer, but if you want like that skin, that dope golden gun, you're gonna have to pay like $5-10 for it.
Yeah, I see Halo 5 doing that now
Yeah.
already.
And am I the only one who thinks Halo
On.
5 stole Metroid's look? I'm
You
like,
know what?
you better hope Nintendo doesn't sue your asses and send Samus down there to take care of Master Chief. And yes, yes, I'm gonna just say this right now: Samus versus Master Chief. I'll take Samus 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Especially if she
So am
gets in the
I.
Zero suit. Woo.
Gosh, Samus don't need deserves. Look, let me put it this way: all the shit Samus has gone up against. I mean, I know everyone thinks Master Chief is pretty badass, but you know, Samus I think is a little bit more badass.
Yeah.
Give
I
me the
mean, I
lady
like
with
the Halo
the third eye.
series. Well, before 4 anyway.
Yeah, 4 just yeah. It ended
After
with
Bungie
3.
got done with Halo, I was done with Halo pretty
Yeah,
much.
Halo 3 was like the end of that series. Like they should have just said, okay, that's the end of Master Chief's story. Let's start a new chapter in this series. But no,
Yeah.
like Mass Effect
But
4.
Red Fox, the Red Fox, don't you know they want to copy what Nintendo does?
Yeah, but Master Chief is not in the same realm of existence as a Samus or a Mario. Like he's not that type of character. Like Master Chief was good. Like he's kind of like Sonic. He's good for his time, but now unless they do some radical change, which might alienate the base of Halo, like he's not gonna be like. I mean, I don't see Master Chief being relevant in 20 years.
No.
I'm sorry. I
No.
mean,
Okay, that's harsh.
I don't see it. I don't
Do
see him being
you
like the face of
do you
Microsoft.
do you guys know if the Master Chief Collection online actually
Oh, they
works
finally
by
fixed
now?
it. They finally fixed it. They released a patch last week.
After
Yes.
Yeah, they finally fixed it after 4 months.
yeah,
I'm gonna
great.
have to get going in 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry to keep you for so long. everyone finish what they want to do, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. My little cousin wanted to play Sonic 2 with me on Genesis.
Sonic. Is he gonna play Tails and be invincible and kill everything for you while you stay alive?
Yeah.
That's the only way to play Sonic 2. But as you were saying, let's finish you guys up and then we'll wrap things up.
Okay. Mario TGP. I'm developing a game. I don't know. I'm living the dream. I'm making a game. About life.
We need to have a picture of you with the wind blowing through your hair and shades on. And hold up the thing saying, with the thumbs up, I'm living the dream in a convertible.
Yeah. Well, more updates soon, and thanks for letting me participate on the podcast.
We enjoy you being here. Okay, go ahead, Triple M or KH Anime
I'll
G.
go. I'll
Okay,
go. KH Anime G here, signing off. Thanks for having me, Red Fox. I'll catch you guys next time. Game
Cool.
on.
Peace. Okay, Triple M.
All right. This is Triple M, the lone wolf and fondness for games that pops up my artworks, and the reason why I said I did that I'm not a gamer thing, and is it's better saying that than gamers are dead. Just saying.
Oh, gamers are dead. This is me, Mr. Red Fox. I would tell you guys what I'm doing, but I have some stuff coming out this week that you'll hear all about what I'm doing. So there. Good night. Sorry for keeping you guys too long. Hope you enjoy. Have a happy holiday. And remember, tomorrow is the 50th anniversary on the March on Selma. We have yet to completely overcome. Remember, don't forget. Good night.
See ya.